2 points. And Saka, while having the Anacam, the propeller, and 2 symbol chips installed, definitely has a lot more setup to do before he's going to be able to threaten to really just kind of take down any problem that gets thrown out there.
Agreed. And Saka has a lot of ways to rapidly set up, potentially from a position where it did not appear that he could set up in the first place. Cards like Overclock, cards like Deep Dive, in conjunction with self-modifying code and symbol chip, very quickly for a very good for a quick burst of credits that can be used for pretty much whatever you want here, partner.
It does look like Santa's list is a little bit less of a hyper glacier ag. I don't think that we see things like the biovaults in this list.
No biovaults, just Anoetic Void.
Right. So kind of a medium weight, a medium
mid-rangey.
weight.
Mid-rangey maybe is the way to describe it.
Right.
Kind of starts as a bit of a rush deck with the gear checks, things like Thimble Rig, Tattoo Bola, Brawn 1.0 as well, and then shifting over into the more slow-paced Glacier deck at the end game with the big sentries like Saisentan and Anansi.
Saka's going to be threatening Deep Dive. He runs 2 in his deck, and he just installed one of the key pieces of making that a real threat, which is the Hana Wheels Palintra, I believe?
I believe that's correct, yeah.
Which is going to allow Saka, when he does the Deep Dive, to use additional clicks to access more agendas and score 4 or 5 points in a turn, maybe even 7 if, well,
I think it would be tough to score 7.
I think it's 2 clicks extra.
Yeah. I don't think there's a way to score exactly 7 off of 1 Deep Dive.
Unless we see a DJ Sable.
Yes, DJ Sable is a potential, and that is a play that Saka's been making all tournament long.
Right. I think that's the primary target, using DJ Fenris to put Sable on the table, and when you're doing that Deep Dive turn, you get another click back, and between that and the Hana, you can have 3. If you hit 3 on 8, which you're probably doing late in the game once you've kind of made sure there's lots of agendas in that R&D.
Yeah, and this is I would think it's somewhat board state dependent, right?
Yeah.
If Santa looks like he's digging for the agendas as much as Saka is, that's when you sort of force the issue and maybe try to go for the deepest possible dive, if you will.
You gotta dive deep.
Turn back over on Santa's side. Looks like 1 click remaining. 2 clicks remaining. Thank you, table judge.
Judges are just doing the work here.
I know. Another big shout out to our judging staff here. They have been just absolutely killing it all weekend.
This is my first Worlds, and I'm astounded about the amount of effort that the judge team has been putting in.
It's a tough job.
It's a lot. There's a lot of people.
And I'm thankful for them for doing it.
Yeah. Okay. Click 2. We're gonna. Oh, I see. We're kind of going the other way.
Yeah. It looks like we're just gonna make a new server with a piece of ice. Here's a Diesel.
Anacam, Diesel working together in concert.
Make your own VRcation, if you will.
Yeah. That's a lot of card draw. Saka's going to take a minute to evaluate all of the new information that just ended up in his hand.
One of Saka's superpowers is the ability to just instantly read a board state. Here comes DJ Fenris in the house.
Spinning a record.
Along with the Stone Ship chart room.
Stone Ship.
Can't exactly tell what... Oh, okay. Maybe not the DJ Fenris quite yet.
Just tracking clicks.
Fenris no longer in the house.
Fenris has left the building. Buzzsaw instead.
There's the Buzzsaw. Okay. Buzzsaw going to match up nicely against the 2 copies of Thimble Rig in Santa's deck.
But now Santa has that information. He knows that DJ is potentially online.
Yes. Yeah, you take the free information when your opponent is kind enough to give it to you.
Now, looking over Santa's list, I don't think I see Sadaka in the list, which is one of the ways that you can deal with the DJ Fenris. With a lot of players have been running a 1x copy of Sadaka, which is a trap ice that can trash resources.
Yes, I don't think that Saka has a way to deal with a trap ice, period. Right. Install another ice. Here's a card in that remote server and an advancement. What could this possibly be?
You think this is threatening just another off-world? We have Nisei Mark IIs are also a possibility. There's only one off-world in the list.
Right. If this is a 4-2, it's going to be a copy of Nisei Mark II. It could also be representing the Charlotte Casador.
Right. On a lot of credits, it could be either.
And I think whatever this ends up being is going to be very, very telling. Saka very strongly pondering whether or not he can go after this one.
On 7 credits, it is kind of a big ask.
It's dicey.
It's not impossible for Shaper. There's a lot of burst credits in Shaper, but to get through 2 pieces of ice. It could be tricky.
Crack the stone chip. Let's see 2 extra cards. Doesn't cost a click.
You don't really need the stone chips here for protecting your life.
Correct.
You know, preventing flat lines. They're just a click for 2 draw when you need it.
Yes, the net damage more bumps in the road, if you will, rather than an active kill threat
Really
out
nice
of Ag Infusion.
that you can bank them. They also, I don't know if the list is on Cataloger.
I don't believe so.
Okay, that is another use that sometimes they get used for to charge a cataloger.
Sure, the less commonly seen second mode of charge an installed card.
Right. It can provide charges on propellers
Yes.
and
Revolver,
bullets.
also using power counters.
right, which can be critical. But
So-
here, the card draw is more important.
Sokka deep in the tank. If this is a Nisei Mark II, I don't know that you can let this one go.
You don't want to. That is a very powerful token. It's been a recurring theme over the weekend.
Yeah, it was strong in 2012. It's strong in 2024. Here's DJ Fenris, and there's the Mark die. Looks like it is DJ Sable.
Yeah, we don't need the extra card. We have a die to represent that. Okay, down to 4 credits. So
Yep.
what is the plan to make more money?
There's a second stone chip chart room.
3rd.
Oh, you're right.
We
Excuse me.
started the game with 1.
Yes, that's all 3. Looks like click for a credit.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
We're on 9.
Or us.
Oh,
Critic
yes.
Commission.
Last
Yes.
click we missed under the overlay there.
Discard an extra copy of Anakin past the turn back. Santa looks like it is going to be Charlotte Costador.
Okay. I think Sokka's probably pretty happy about that.
I think so.
Given the 2 options.
Yes, given the option of a Nisei token or just a Charlotte Costador, you're not happy to see Charlotte, but you're happy that it's not a Nisei Mark II.
And like over a certain amount of money, the money is less important than the points or the setup or the ability to turn the run off.
Yes.
Because with all that money, you still need to find the right ice and put it in the right place and have the time to do all that stuff still. Although, you don't need to find the right ice in Ag all the time. Sometimes you just need to find ice.
I do have my
You
mic
can
on, by the way. I
move them
just
around.
I'm not really saying very
And
much right now.
Ag-Infusion,
I'm not super
all else
energy. I'm
equal,
kind of just streaming and watching
Equally
this.
useful
So
as garbage.
I'll respond to chat occasionally, but I'll probably mostly just be quiet while I'm watching the stream.
Here's a sprint.
Digging for something here. Or potentially flooded and putting some things back in.
Yes, potentially fixing the hand.
But do you think we would have pushed something last turn instead of the Charlotte?
It's possible.
Yeah. It seemed like a narrow window. Not a sure thing for sure.
I think Santa knows that the late game does not actually favor him in this matchup with Deep Dive on the board, with the ability to get so many extra clicks between the Sable and the wheels. It's very hard for Ag Infusion to effectively click crunch these decks out of the game, such that they cannot fire Deep Dive. That card is typically live.
All those extra clicks probably won't be available, by the way. We were talking about a 3-click Deep Dive is very unlikely because one of the clicks is almost definitely going to be eaten by an Ag boot.
Yes.
So that's just sort of like a buffer.
Yes.
You need more than you actually normally do.
You're right. Exactly. Clicks acting as hit points.
Yes. Yeah.
What a world we have come to.
You know, when you play against a PE, your cards are hit points, but here it's clicks.
Yes.
Oh, Jinteki.
A little bit of friendly banter between the two as Santa puts down another ice in front of R&D, advances the Charlotte Costador, passes the turn back over to Sokka.
Manually advancing. So Santa wants to get a Lacosta grid in that remote, and a little bit more ice on the tip, so that he can start prioritizing buttoning up centrals, and then giving a bit of a fork, saying, "You got to break this down, and you got to get in a remote server, because if you don't deal with this, then I'm going to have time to do the other thing."
Charlotte Costador a lot more efficient to be firing every turn off of Lacosta grid advancement rather than a manual click advancement.
It's doing the work itself.
Your turbine.
Turbine, telework contract. This is good. Sokka's got some breathing room and is building a board. Even though that turn over turn, the Charlotte firing is going to be a major issue. How many copies of Pinhole do you think Sokka has in his deck?
We can find out. Looks like 2 copies of Pinhole Threading in Sokka's deck. We've seen one.
Pretty early for...
Yes.
It was a Charlotte, right?
Was it?
First... Oh, yeah, that's right. We thought
yes.
it was a Charlotte. It was the off-world office.
Yes.
That's right.
Turn back over on Santa's side. The Charlotte Costador pops the advancement counter for 4 credits and 1 card. We saw the Turbine come down on Sokka's side of the board. Now, Turbine with the Buzzsaw, not really necessary in this matchup. Santa really not running a lot of code gates outside of a couple copies of Thimble Rig.
That's right. But the turbine is very helpful with
Sentries.
sentries.
Yeah,
and-
you have to. It's your ticket out for sentries, I think. Here's a copy of Hansei Review. We're going to yeet one card to the bin, gain 5 credits. All the money in the world on Santa's side of the board here.
Although I think also saving some counters on propeller through bronze.
Yeah, yeah.
Now 1 brawn out. I think are there 2 brawn on the list? There are 3 brawn.
Yeah,
on the list. 6
three-
influence
Oh.
spend.
3 is traditional. Well, you have that 2 extra influence off.
These are friendly? I've been attacking them
Yeah,
this
you
whole
just
time.
spend it however you want.
Why not?
Oh, shit.
Spl-
Now I feel like a jackass.
Make
Make it rain.
with
Thank
influence.
you. I was
yeah.
doing the motion, and I was like, how do I verbalize?
Is that why people call them
Third
fairies
copy.
in
Yes,
Eureka?
We've got Simulchip
I wonder.
Exodia on the board. All 3
Okay, here's the
installed
way
along
out.
with a copy
God.
of self-modifying code. Get the lat draw at the end of turn, pass it back over. This Charlotte Costador just keeps on rolling along.
I know that the fairies
Santa
in Eureka are
mandatory, and then-
targetable
oh,
like
no, this is the
enemies,
Charlotte.
Yeah,
which I
Charlotte
guess
draw
is
are
a
mandatory.
subtle reference to the fairies and
Rifling through the hand,
this
pondering
game.
options here. At a
And
certain
if I'm
point, the
right,
Charlotte
that's
going
kinda
get
cute.
overwritten in favor
You can't
of
actually
agenda
attack
or
them, though.
Potentially a defensive upgrade. Most likely culprit there would be a Lacoste, or excuse me, an Anoetic Void.
Checking the deck list.
Yeah, checking the deck list is at this point. Top 16 cut is open deck list at all times. So much like we have access to the deck lists at the desk, our players have access to the deck lists within the game.
that's actually crazy to me that they can look at the deck lists in real time during the
I
game.
think that Santa's just basically stopped checking the deck once the pinhole got revealed. I don't know. That's my read, is that it was like looking through. Okay.
I mean, it allows for more optimal play, but I don't know. I have thoughts about that. I don't hate it. I don't hate it for the record. They're not negative thoughts. They're interested thoughts. I'm curious how that affects the
One
balance
ice on,
of the
and you kind
game.
of are gonna do that anyway to some extent.
I may have to ask June
but
about
you
that
don't
because
have
I'm
any
actually
weak service
genuinely
because of,
curious.
deep dive threats.
Here's a copy
Oh,
of
hello.
subliminal messaging, giving Sokka a reason to run every single turn. And we're going to continue
Lineral.
icing R&D.
Just playing the
lineral?
subliminal for
The
a credit
lineral.
here, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I guess
just the
because
credit.
so that is saying to me that all the cards in Santa's hand are worth it and wants to keep them. And the subliminal, we're just going to spend it for credit because it might come back.
Yeah. You're
or at
happy if
least-
it comes back. It's
right.
free real estate. If it
So what I've been
doesn't
told
come
about
back,
this
hey,
game,
it'll
Final
probably
Fantasy
come back
XIV,
eventually.
Right.
is
It's
that
very
a
useful
lot
to
of
have
this
a subliminal
game is
hand
just
when you draw
fucking
a concept
traversal.
review.
Alright. How
Which
much?
there
one
are
of
3 of in the list.
One
Come
of the
on,
best
man.
targets for Hansei review we could possibly ever see.
Right.
Click the telework contract.
Emptying the telework.
Flat draw. So
Okay,
both
have some
players
dots.
really just setting up
Yeah,
here.
saying you're not going to do anything, I'm not going to do anything. It's an arms race. Wow, that is 4 ice. I just looked down at the table.
4
again.
deep on R&D. Yeah.
Okay.
That's some major trick shot respect.
Well, we know how much Shapers love their R&D partner. Checking the ice there.
Here, I'll take a temp
What did I
potion.
put where? Says Santa.
Yeah.
The other one,
well,
temp eye
so now
drops.
if you get
Echo
a
drops.
couple of
So if I get
strong ones in the
silenced.
outermost here, you've loaded up a lot of boops.
Yeah. The outermost ice is the scariest.
Oh, I
spot
forgot
for
to
the
ping
big
my
ice, for the
server.
big
Hold
ice
on.
to be like Saisentan or like Anansi. Now, I do believe Santa missed his trigger on the subliminal messaging. I don't believe we saw a run on Sokka's
Whoops.
side of the
That's
board.
true.
So just a small misplay on Santa's side, but we'll see if that ends up being impactful whatsoever.
Right. Yeah, that was a total turnoff.
We do love a
Subliminal
miss
messaging,
trigger.
kind of an odd trigger to remember.
It is
I've
so
seen-
hard.
I've
I have
seen-
missed it so many times.
Yeah, there's a lot of strategies for managing that one. I see a lot of players place the die on top of the deck or place
Yep.
the card
Oh.
itself on top of the deck. Here's another copy of Sprint.
I think maybe Santa just noticed because when he discarded a card and put it on the sprint on top, he went kind of like, oh, and looked
Oh.
at the subliminal.
He's
Did I
like
do
grinning
that?
at himself. Yep.
It's hard to say.
Here's the Sprint. We're going to see 3 cards enter HQ and 2 cards from HQ go right back into the deck.
And you don't know what's happening under there.
No, we had no idea what's happening. There's a lot of face-down cards on the board here, but the fact that Santa
How did
hasn't
you
been
manage to
pushing
run right into
anything,
a bowl
just continuing to
and
ice
get
up
completely
R&D,
stuck?
sort of suggests
Dude.
he's not seeing the cards that he
The auto
wants
run in this game is good, but it's not that good.
It sounds like probably just agendas.
And I
not
just completely
defensive
abandoned that
upgrades.
wasp I was
Because
tracking.
the rest of the list
Okay,
is
I'm gonna
money
keep going.
defensive upgrades.
Right.
He's getting a lot of ice and probably a lot of agendas.
Yes.
Because otherwise,
Pixies.
you're putting them on the table and you're.
So if I'm out in the world and I need
Again,
healing, I
Lava
can
is
go
not
run into a
necessarily
pixie,
bad
and
problem
they got
to
me.
have here in Ag Infusion, as you can use
good to
those
know,
very
actually.
powerful Ag Infusion ID ability to redirect the runner's run.
Yeah, but the way you leverage Ag's inherent ability to end the run is to add even more kind of unfair end the run abilities like analytics and things like that.
That's that click crunch we were talking
right,
about earlier.
Right. No copies of border control in this list, right?
2 copies.
2 copies.
Yeah,
okay.
2 copies of border control.
Yeah, another way to end the run.
continue manually advancing the Charlotte Costador. Again, not generally what you want to be doing, but the Charlotte Costador ability extremely powerful to have rolling. Looks like a copy of Hedge Fund. And we're going to pitch it.
Charlotte's just cooking.
Yeah, Charlotte is really cooking here.
Catching clones.
Yeah, working out in the field. She loves it. She loves it. Has to turn back over to Sokka.
Oh, also,
Sokka
if it's not
leaning
obvious,
back
I
in
do
his
have
chair,
the stream
arms crossed,
cropped.
thinking,
That's mostly just
what's the
for,
play
you know,
here?
reasons.
There's just a
My
ton of
fucking
credits on
microphone
the
fell
board
over.
for both
Just for
players.
visual
Sokka
reasons,
sitting
to make
on,
sure
what's
it
that,
fits on the screen without
23?
taking up too much real
Samson
estate.
Sitting on, was that 34?
The-
30.
The game is like what's important.
39?
The people's reactions and stuff are fun, but I'm mostly looking for the audio and the game state.
Is too much money in a game of Netrunner?
It is
Can you-
possible.
It's not like I have any idea
It
what's
is
going on anyway. I don't play this
possible
fucking
to
game.
run out of the table. There's a limited number of those fives.
And of course, we all know you cannot gain more money if we run out. No, that's not true. That's not true.
Yeah, it's a
If you run out of tokens, you just don't get any more. That's how it works. Makes perfect sense to me.
Sokka overriding the Charlotte.
Could you imagine?
2 cards entering, maybe.
Your own
Yes,
fucking
2
Monopoly
cards entering
rules.
the remote server, one
As
of them
soon as you run out of hotels, you can't buy any more hotels.
representing the
I miss?
powerful aforementioned.
No, it just
Same
did, like,
mark
no
two,
damage.
Sokka
Okay, let's try
rolling his
fire.
mark. Now is that looks like archives if I'm not mistaken, right?
I believe that is the archives.
9 points
In any
damage.
case,
Okay.
when it comes to overclock,
Need to find what this guy's weak to.
into the remote server, there's the copy of order control. Sokka,
There we go.
Now Sokka can break this with the power, but it makes you wonder if this is exactly what he wants to be doing with these limited propeller counters.
Well, you use the propeller
Gotta be
counters
kidding
for
me.
boosting strength.
Oh,
right?
70. There we go.
Yes,
We're doing
turbine
damage.
engine, correct. Yeah, so that actually helps a lot
Yeah.
saving those credits.
Yeah.
Only using them for when you need to.
What are
with
you
the-
doing here?
Correct, the power counter is
Come
not
on.
necessary from this position because we're turbined up.
It is
Whatever.
just brawn.
I don't even know if you were actually aggroed, but I'm not taking any
Bronze
chances.
that are
Bronze, looks like Taffy Bowl is in the list as
Oh,
well.
I'm sorry. The ordering on this is
Yeah,
a
the
little
ordering, they're
minuscule.
not, yeah, they're not.
Why do I have
ordered
43
alphabetically,
HP?
Not by subtype,
Oh, that's
but
why.
Yes, there are some copies of Brawn as well as Tattoo Bola.
Tattoo Bullet. Tattoo Bullet also being handled by Turbine. now.
Yes.
Remedy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
turbined propeller. We'll make quick work of that one.
Yeah.
And checking the ice here. Let's see what it is.
It's a thimble rig.
Just a thimble rig.
All right.
We break that for one.
Yeah, this remote is quite weak.
Second digit is
Okay, we're gonna
on.
swap the thimble rig. Mobile ice, super useful in this deck. Putting it
First
last
digit is odd.
Here's the
Interesting.
Oh boy, putting that thimble rig last on R&D means that any time that we get past that point, that remote's
One of the
border
two
control
digits
is
is
suddenly
7.
going to
That
other
doesn't
route.
give me much to
very
go off
cheeky
of.
play that could be made here.
This is
Greater
the
than
kind of, like,
65
high
and
score
less than
Netrunner. You know,
90.
you jam this deck, hundreds of games,
Yeah, you'd either
and you learn these fun tricks.
Yes, after 100 games, you're bound to learn.
So it
some
could either be
tricks of the
67,
trade.
any of the 7.
Santa
It could
shows
be
off a lot of
60.
tricks
Nah,
to trade at
there's
the
too many
moment.
combinations.
Looks like Sokka utilizing that SMC
I don't think I can
with the
solve this
remaining
one.
Overclock credits before
Let's
the
go
void,
for it.
Trigger goes off.
Yeah, just get the
Lucky
revolver
number.
Yeah.
fully set up. As
It was
far as-
79.
Yes.
Unlucky.
Using that gun fully loaded. We're going to see 2 cards and 2 credits.
Pretty sure I
hit
grabbed
the
some
bin.
potions.
Anoetic Void going to shut this run down.
What if I use this?
We have 1 card in hand, or 2
For Sokka or for Santa.
for Santa. Yeah,
I believe 3 or 2 or 3. Can't get a good
Yeah.
look at his hand as he shuffles
3.
around. Looks like 3. Okay, so Void could fire again.
Okay.
one more time.
And if Santa,
should tell me
if
what
we're
it actually
correct,
did.
and Santa's been drawing a lot of cards that he doesn't want to see, maybe totally fine firing this Void again. Let's see what this new ice is that took the place of Thimble Rig.
Yeah, what do we swap in? Another bronze.
Another Brawn into this
Yeah,
propeller.
I've got a
is not
potion.
exactly where you want to be.
You
bet.
also do. You can anoetic, and then you can use the boop. So you can.
Yes.
If that is an agenda, you're safe
60.
this turn. You can score it, I think.
I'm going to bang on this guy to
Right?
get my
You can
trust
end
to
with the
do some
anoetic
stuff.
This time with the 2 cards and a click. 2 cards and 2 credits, and then we can use the boop on the last one. So, okay. This is actually cool. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Same though. Here, actually, we can end with the anoetic, swap in an ice, and then
Yes.
Even better.
Yeah, another way to get
Oh, man, that one is cool.
another way to get a piece of unread dice there in that innermost position.
you know the meme with the big brain. You know, that's,
We're going through it in real
I'm
time.
like the middle of
I
the
have
pack
5
with
MP.
these guys.
Well, that's why these folks are in the top 16 on the top table.
We end with a border.
We're going to end with the border control. That makes me wonder if this.
I'm gonna have to heal to get my MP back. Hold on.
Remote now.
Oh, another border
Hey,
control.
Pixie. Do you give?
Santa checking it. What's it going to be? It looks like it's an ag infusion.
Okay.
We are going to access archive now. Does this give Sokka the click back off of his mark?
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, there it goes.
That may have been a colossal misplay. I don't think. Yeah, Santa leaning back in the chair with a look like, oh no, was I supposed to set? I think you're supposed to send him somewhere else.
Animatic can still protect here.
Well, there's only 3 cards in hand, and
Right.
Sokka now has an extra click. If Santa uses the
That's
Anoetic
right.
here, he's stranded with 1 card in hand and cannot fire the Anoetic Void on the final click.
Yeah. Yeah, Santa shaking his head a little.
Yeah, Santa realizing, I think Santa sees he
the
made a
Nisei.
misplay. There's the Nisei.
Ooh, that was a good steal.
And clears out the Void. Oh, no.
Tearing down the remote.
I'm missing part of the HUD. That's why.
Santa's
I
on
thought
the back
the
foot.
ratio
It's
seemed
all come
wrong.
apart so quickly for Santa.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. Might actually be fine then.
Santa with a cock of the head saying, I should have known better.
That innocuous little die on the Sable.
Yeah. Anywhere but archives would have been
Right.
safer.
Right. Boop into archives is a reflex.
Yes,
Right.
yeah. Normally it's 100% safe, but with the Sable ability,
I mean, R&D would have been a mountain to climb, I suppose.
Okay,
even
with this
HQ would have-
ratio,
would have
I
been
think
fine.
it should be
depending on what's
more
Depending on what's in hand, sure.
watchable.
Maybe
Maybe?
see another ice coming down in front of R&D.
Oof, that's still taking up a lot of.
respect being.
We'll pop
being
this in the
given.
corner.
Never mind.
I think there was a judge clarification about just tracking board state potentially.
So we're gonna get a click draw on click 1 instead.
Okay, let me see how this looks full screen
All
real
right, so
quick.
let's see how does Santa reestablish a position here? Is it just installing ice?
It doesn't look
installing
like anything
upgrades?
because I don't
I think
have
so.
it.
Spin Doctor's
Okay,
helping
yeah.
to
Spin
get
Doc-
some card draw.
Spin Doctor's great, and also going to get some of those tools that some of those resources rather that Santa just spent back in the deck where he can access them again.
The nice part for Santa is that he has plenty of money.
Okay, the text
right.
isn't exactly
Credits
legible,
are
but I think
still
it's watchable
20,
enough. Also on both.
27 credits.
Tons of money, but with the DC Mark II in Sokka's score area, the deep dive threat is just looming large
That's
over
right.
over this game.
Yeah, it's a race now. And what is the race? Do you concentrate on putting more ice on your centrals, or do you build that remote?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Because it's a bit of a, if you put all of your ice and all of your resources,
That's the tightrope.
you're eventually going to flood out.
If you overinvest in one server, Sokka will shift elsewhere. If Santa leaves R&D, or rather his central servers undefended, here comes deep dive.
Cupulation.
Yeah. Here's Cupulation.
The thing on the way with the deep dives, you can use the cupulation to sweep the hand.
You sure can.
So it's not even just you get the incidental access on the way if you go
Okay.
You can run archive.
Trick shot, sorry.
Trick shot, excuse me.
trick shotting, seeing extra cards on the top.
I'll just pop this
Although
down
you're
in a
probably
sec.
going to see those anyway with the deep dive, right? They're
Yes.
at the top.
Yeah.
Unless you cause a shuffle mid run.
I think a play we've seen Sokka make is run archives, put a card on Cupulation, run HQ, pop
I
the
didn't finish
Cupulation
And
for
then
3
getting
accesses,
my,
make the
MP, hold
R&D
on.
run, and then the trick
It's
shot.
strolling
Basically
stew.
accessing as many cards as humanly possible
Yep.
on the deep dive turn. Let's see if that one comes to fruition here. Santa with the turn back on his side.
For all of the text on trick shot, at the very least, it limits you to only running the one
Alright.
central
Kirby,
as
you're gonna
far
have to
as
go.
working
Sorry,
in tandem
buddy.
with deep dive.
Yes, you have
It doesn't
you have
enable
to
you
run
to
R&D.
right. It doesn't enable you to do multiple runs in one
All right,
click.
we're gonna go
One click
ahead.
compression.
Correct.
You
Yes.
see a fifth ice
Fifth ice.
on R&D.
Gonna align
and
this
we could
left.
Potentially see a trash here. I think we already paid for all the extra install costs.
It looks like Santa paid for. Just checking what ice is where.
Right, there we go.
For new
That's
players
much
of the
better.
game, every time you play an
Ready
ice,
for MP
on
to
the
come
server, you have to
back?
pay 1 credit for each ice behind it. So that every time this server gets bigger and longer, it's costing more and more and more out of Santa's pockets.
Another click draw on third click.
Not to mention you have to res all. Well, you don't need to res all those ice
You
because
don't
it's
need to.
ag.
Yes.
It's ag. It's a lot of no's, but you can only do one a turn. So
Yes.
it's totally fair.
Sure.
Ag Infusion's it's just been a very strong ID for a very long time. And it
Yes.
allows, actually, we've seen several very creative archetypes develop from that ability.
Yeah, we saw Tibby Wong playing much more of a rush style ag infusion this weekend.
But in previous metas like Loki
Trapped,
Ag,
yeah,
and
Loki Ag
all
in
sorts of stuff.
2022. We've seen for the old heads in the audience, we've seen some traps come down back at Gen Con in 2018. But that's neither here nor there.
Keeling Ag was a
you just
was
had
a
to
time.
remind me.
Yeah, so
Here's a copy of Spin Doctor. 2 cards entering Santa's.
Right, we're going down to the Valkyrie Dunes. Wait, I could have just gone.
We're just gonna click for a couple credits.
We're vibing anyway.
Into the bin, past the turn back.
Rolling archives again for Mark.
We're actually almost level 18. That's exciting.
To run the Spin Doctor. Now it is important. If a wheels run is unsuccessful, you would typically get a tag. The way that Spin Doctor works is if Spin Doctor disappears, or if an uniced Spin Doctor disappears during a run, the run is neither successful nor unsuccessful. It just sort of fizzles.
It ends.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
No tags.
No harm, no foul.
But yeah, that's a perfect way to use the Hannah. Just to say, I would like that to go away, please. And you're happy either way if you are somehow forced to trash it. I think in this position, Santa definitely has enough things that need to go back into R&D. So.
Yes.
Okay, we're running R&D here.
That's what it looks like. We see Santa reaching for that outermost piece of ice on R&D.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
No, it's, we're gonna.
Wrong turn.
Yes, wrong turn, but the hits just keep on rolling. Santa's got to pay 5 for this one.
Yep. 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, and now he's got some
encroaching on the runners.
That's a 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down. Yeah, ice 6 to ice going down on R&D.
This is not a board seat you usually see.
I think, is this a record for the stream? I don't think we've seen any server, let alone a central server, get this deep.
This is some wild and wacky stuff.
Yeah, this is, hey, sometimes it doesn't go the way you draw it up on JNet.
That's right. And that's the beauty of the game.
It is.
It's like,
yes.
well, listen, I'm painted into a corner. Let me paint my way out.
This is what makes Netrunner so beautiful. How expressive is this game?
Right. A lot of creativity and problem solving. All
I have no idea what's going on, but I feel like I really want to learn this game now.
4 credits past the turn back. It's a very quick turn on his side of the board because we see Santa reaching for this thimble rig, swapping that one over to archives.
They are tied on points. Saka is ready to absolutely demolish a remote server as soon as something gets put in there.
Yeah,
I think, and the agendas have to be building up in hand.
They
have to be building up in hand.
Have to be somewhere.
Archives, for all of the ice on R&D, Archives has 1 ice on it. So if they end up there without the Spin Doctor, Saka doesn't need to do anything to get them, basically.
Yeah.
Right? This is a really hard position for Santa. Oh, we got both subliminals.
Both subliminals coming back. Finally remember to bring those back. Take the mandatory draw.
This is a tough spot for
This one's tough. Here's one of those subliminals.
I ran fine.
Build a remote server or ice archives?
Yeah, Agafusion has to score agendas the hard way. They have to score them out of a remote. Yeah, exactly. So a remote's going to get built at some point. Santa cannot just sit here. Hunt's review. More money. Gotta think he's pitching that extra copy of subliminals.
Did I learn any new ability?
Another credit past the turn back.
I think you could actually see.
Okay. Yeah, Saka, I believe, is clicking for 4 credits, saying you need to represent the threat.
They did actually run out of poker
chips.
Oh, the unthinkable has happened.
Ha. Elemental Seal and Mana Font.
Santa just adamantly refusing to build a remote server.
Wow.
And continuing to ice the centrals. Now, it's important to call out just a quirk of the top 16 format. In the event of a true tie on points when the timer hits 0, and both players have had that extra turn, the way that a tie works in these situations, the higher seed will take the win.
Oh.
Tired seed is?
I know Saka was sitting around seed 8 or 9. We're
I
go to
don't
the
know how I
stats
feel about that.
and get that information.
Okay. We do have HQ ice here. 3 deep now on HQ.
I guess that's just the advantage of being a consistent player, but
this appears to be deference.
Nah, that should be like bonus time or something. I actually don't like that.
Santa is potentially higher on points.
Yeah, it appears that Santa is the higher seed, so he gets 7 seed.
Right.
So in the event of a tie, this does favor Santa, and that's starting to explain this line of play that he's taking, just saying, I will sit here and do nothing to prevent you from firing a deep dive in the next 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, but you got to figure at some point. So that explains all the other. Okay, we have upgrades on HQ, so that's probably an anoetic void.
Anoetic void is what that suggests to me.
Keep you out of HQ.
Yeah, well, Lacosta can't.
I wonder where they
HQ,
came up with that,
the
because
virus would be a bit of a juke, I would say.
That's right.
We're going to the Conchlat
so
Islands?
are we limited by power counters here? Because the money, you can run through the server.
Yeah, I should have just left the city. I don't know why I did all this shit.
Power counters at all on Saka's side of the board. There's 3 cycle chips. You can just recur these pieces as many times as you want.
Right. Saka ready to move some money around, I think.
one of these players has to force the
What
issue.
a standoff.
Yeah, this is a true standoff, Old West style.
Who's going to draw first?
Well, it would seem to favor Saka as he has the literal gun card installed.
Yeah. Fire away. Clicking more for more credits.
We're continuing.
Is there? Tell me there's a Netrunner
No,
card just called
events can play
gun.
it, just what are we waiting for?
I think we are waiting for the clock to get to inch closer and closer to 0. This is unlike any game of Netrunner we've seen all weekend.
Well, there is a
I guess you have to
revolver.
Sort of, how many
Icebreaker,
spins
no
have been
kidding.
removed from the game? At least 2.
At least 2.
Right. So if a third one comes down, if this is a spin doctor, that resets the timer a little bit.
Yes. I don't think.
Although if they're
Okay,
going
there are a
R&D,
few gun
then
cards.
R&D is still really juicy, and you can make that run once, twice.
Do we think Santa's in any risk of decking out here in the next 5 minutes? The Charlotte Cazador cooked for quite a while.
This could be the line for Saka because now we have something in the remote.
Yeah,
so,
the remote exists.
Running HQ.
Here's a run. Okay, a game action.
Hey, Soulflame.
That looks like a copy of Saisentan.
2 strength. The gun only needs to spend counters here. It doesn't even need to spend for any of those credits.
Yeah, the turbine makes that one quite strong. Going to continue on through here. What is this innermost ice? That is Brawn 1.0, the very powerful HB barrier from System Gateway.
4.5 minutes left on the clock.
I think Saka has all the money he would ever need in order to make this
Gabi's Iron Rapture.
really strongly looks like he's going to go for it.
So, from Santa's position, I think it's much easier for Saka to take one agenda.
I don't know my
To
trust.
steal one agenda than it is for Santa to score one.
Correct.
Right. So this
I
is
would agree.
A risky line of play. There's the Anoetic.
Yep.
It's going to end the run, but it's going to put more cards down. Now the hand is even
Leave
more
me alone.
even more juicy.
We assume.
We assume. Although the card on the table could be a spin doctor, in which case that was a safe play.
Yes.
But it seems like you potentially clear that remote, unless this is all just part of I'm using these clicks now.
I've got 2 enemies aggroed on me right now.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going through back into HQ, breaking the Saisentan. Here, Braun
I don't know if there is a leash distance.
Reaching for the innermost ice. Looks like an Agate Fusion. And the way Agate Fusion works is if you boop to a server with an unres piece of ice on the outermost, there is no window to res it as you're in the encounter step, not the approach step when ice gets rezzed.
Okay. It's just archives. We're just seeing
Lacoste
Grid, handful of other cards I didn't catch.
Nothing immensely relevant.
Yeah, no points.
Interesting that Saka not choosing to put the compilation, but I suppose with the Anoetic Void sitting on HQ, Santa's going to do his job for him of clearing the hand out.
There might be another card that Saka's waiting for to target. We've seen Saka target very precise cards with compilation in very creative ways. That card has had a lot of really cool highlight reel moments.
Yes, it has.
Yeah.
And we're seeing yet another HQ run. We're going to throw the gun at the Saisentan, reinstall it off the Simul chip, and continue and keep on shooting.
I love throwing the gun.
What a thematic ability on Revolver.
Yep. It should say, and throw the gun.
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Looks like a Rashida trigger here to refill the hand and just add more fuel to the Anoetic Void. But again, continuing to speed up the deck out threat. Santa's R&D is getting very thin.
I mean, there's 3 Bacterial, 3 Nisei, an Off-World, and a Send a Message.
Yeah, so there's 2 Nisei, all 3 Bacterial, and the Send a Message that's left over. So lots of agendas. Yes, Santa's R&D extremely thin. These agendas can't just get removed from the game. They have to go somewhere.
Right. There's 6 agendas left in the
Bats
game.
are in
Where
Rapture.
Are they? Find the agendas. Missing agendas. Put them on a milk crate.
Santa with a little eyebrow raise.
There we go.
Thinking about drawing a card, hasn't seen it yet, hasn't entered HQ yet. There it is. Okay, there is another draw.
1:50.
Now it looks like Santa installed the card he just drew. Didn't really move around his hand a lot. Throw a card away for hand size.
Easy prey, huh?
Roll R&D for our mark, and here's Wheels charging the remote server. Oh, we just got a little bit of a look of HQ.
There were 2 Bacterials.
HQ's loaded.
Yeah, it is absolutely.
HQ is loaded. Looks like no res on the remote. That is a copy of Spin Doctor.
The last spin, I think.
Is there 1 card left in R&D?
Oh,
About to be 3 after the Spin Doctor. But again, there's only a minute and 50.
Is R&D the drawing deck, or is that just
through 4 turns?
Another zone?
Yes.
Right?
I don't know.
Without either an agenda coming out of HQ, you can't use that Anoetic anymore.
Is there any possible way that Saka could force the mill, or the deck out, rather?
Running through R&D seems unlikely here.
Exactly 3 cards left in R&D. Less than a minute left on the clock. And again, if this game goes to a true tie, Santa will win. Choosing an extremely unorthodox line of play. Here's a copy of Sure Gamble.
42 seconds left.
Saka motioning to archives. Looks like we're running archives.
Just checking.
Does not appear to be a res. Yep, there's a copy of Charlotte.
If the timer ends on Santa's turn, I think Saka's probably very happy.
I would think so. And Santa can likely take some very quick turns here. I mean, simply clicking for 3 or clicking for 4.
Right. Draw a card, click for 3.
But there's a lot of beginning of turn triggers like this thimble rig that Santa made, and the subliminal messaging that may distract Santa. It is his turn. We've only got 5 seconds left of the clock. Looks like
it may not be truly perfectly accurate, so we'll see. We'll see when the round ends on stream. Or the timer ends.
Gonna ice up HQ. I believe those cards are in. Gonna click draw. There's 1 card left in R&D.
Yeah, I think that is just 1.
Yeah, it looks like 1 singular card left in R&D.
We called archives as mark. We're gonna run archives.
We're gonna run archives. Anything in archives? Nothing. 2 copies of Lacosta Grid and a Hansai.
And that's time called.
Time has been called.
On Saka's turn, you can see disappointment on his face, I think, potentially with, okay, now Saka knows.
Yes. All the information is here. Saka just needs to touch any agenda. There's Santa has
let's go ahead and get my trusts out. Don't forget again.
We are probably looking at a bit of a think here.
Oh, yeah.
Because Saka's got a lot of options to work through with the last 4 clicks of the game.
Yes.
And he knows that Santa won't deck out, so that's not a threat.
Correct. Now,
so he has to just find an agenda.
Now, time was called in Saka's turn, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Is there ever a world where Saka runs R&D and it's a trashable card? If that last card in R&D is trashable and Saka accesses it, that could be a deck out.
The deck lists in hand, he can go and figure this out, I think. Well, he doesn't know what cards
know what's
are
in the
hand. Right.
Correct. HQ is unknown information, at least in part.
So it's either an agenda, or all of the agendas are in hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 6 agendas left in the game. All 6 of them are either in the hand or archives. I mean, or an R&D.
Or the one in R&D.
There's only 6, and there's only 6 unknowns in hand, unless one of them got installed as an ice or something. Which you don't want to do that.
Correct. That would be a tough
That would be a game
one.
loss.
Yeah.
There are only 6. Those are all agendas. Every single card.
So what you're saying is that if Saka gets into HQ or forces this Anoetic Void to fire, an agenda will move to archives.
I think that's potentially solvable.
Yeah.
Because we have 6, 7, 8 agendas in the game. We've only seen
2 of them are out of the game. Yeah, you're right. 6 agendas.
And 6 has been in play. Oh my.
So
but I mean, Saka's not going to rush into any decisions. No. You don't end up in that position.
Now, the other line that Saka could take here, there's an empty compilation on the board, partner.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't even have to be a trashable card. You can put it on the cup.
That's true.
That's a mill.
If you get
That's
through,
a deck out.
Now the question is, can you get through 15? These are rows of 5? 5, 10, 15.
Yes.
20, 30 credits,
infinite.
34 credits.
Call it infinite for the sake of argument.
Even if these are all 8 cost ice,
it's close to being able to res everything.
On average, 6 credits each. You can res them all.
Yeah, you probably don't. And there's certain ice you probably don't res just to hold up the Agate Fusion ability. Okay, we're going to run archives, host the Anoetic Void.
Yeah, just run the hand.
Just run the hand. Force that Anoetic Void to fire. Now, the Agate Fusion ability has not been used yet. Oh, it looks like we're going to rewind. Is this on the... Because we haven't flipped another click marker over. So I think we're going to rewind a little bit and host an Anoetic Void from archives during the run on archives.
That whole time might have been mid-run on archives deciding...
Pinhole threading.
Where are we pinholding?
I would assume we're gonna pinhole the trash.
The Anoetic Void. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, of course.
Okay, Santa redirecting Saka into R&D. The compilation line we discussed earlier no longer on the table. The cup is only big enough to hold 1 card.
Now, but 6 cards in hand, the Anoetic can fire end over end over end. Now, the boop has been used. There are two more border controls left in the deck that we haven't seen unless they're in archives.
One. Just 2 border controls in Santa.
Controls.
So,
Okay.
so unless he shuffled one back in with the Spin Doctor, there's likely only one left.
And it doesn't really matter where on the board. No, they do. It doesn't matter where they're on the board, but it seems like there is one on R&D.
There's the Spider. Looks like the pinhole threading run was booped over to R&D, and Sokka choosing to bounce off the Thimble Rig and just run back into HQ. Going through the Spider. Here's an encounter with the Saisentan.
Going to
1 bullet, throw the gun, reinstall the gun.
Right.
Throw the gun.
Maybe.
Don't. Yeah, the Anoetic is going to save the day here, I think, right?
Well, but the problem is Archives is undefended
Oh,
now.
that's right. Yes, that's the problem. We've established this.
Yeah, so if Santa ends this run with the Anoetic Void, the agendas are just getting shuffled around to do another server.
Right.
So, yeah, Sokka with clicks and no defenses on Archives.
I think we
Here's Braun.
might be in a lock here.
Going through it. Anoetic Void. It's your
Fire
choice.
2, yeah. Would you like to
Fire
go access
2.
these? Santa's smiling and
Sokka
laughing.
Getting another click off of Hannah Wheels Palintra.
Oh my goodness.
Running Archives.
Yeah,
There's the
he knows.
handshake.
Everybody
Sokka
knows.
takes it.
Wow.
The
Wow.
run continues, and Sokka gets revenge on Santa for knocking him into the loser.
How does he
bracket.
keep getting away with it?
The three-peat lives to see another game. Congratulations to Sokka 234 for taking this one home. Really strange game in Netrunners. Like I said, sometimes they don't go the way you think they will, but that could not have been a more exciting game.
Oh, man, there's the variations that happen in this game is just something that keeps me coming back. We get to see all the ice.
Oh.
We do see border control on the really
Mac.
really deep R&D. The whole hand was.
Let that be a lesson to the viewers at home. Understand what your outs are in a given situation. Santa knows that the clock favors him. He is the higher seed. A tie favors him. Tie
Okay,
goes
Ether plus
in his
1.
favor. He would be the winner in that situation.
Right.
So putting all the time pressure on Sokka. I will sit here and do nothing if you're not willing to make a move either.
Right. That explains a lot of the fast, like click for 3, click for 4,
Yeah.
click for 4.
Aerial
click for 4.
junction.
Exactly.
Fine. You want to run out your deck? We're gonna do this,
Yeah, yeah.
and you're gonna do it fast enough to that.
I don't have
you
an
to slow down
appropriate
a bit.
imminent.
Now we're playing a different game.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
What a great game. What a cool one. I'm so thrilled we got to see a kind of a weirdo game
We've
like that
had
on stream.
Such a variety of different matchups that end up with just nothing's been. I haven't seen the same thing twice, or at least maybe we see the same decks, but they play out in such different ways.
Wildly
So,
differently.
yeah.
That was having spectated much of their initial game in the first round of the top 16. A wildly different story.
Right.
Santa doing a much better job of just taxing out Sokka's resources, making sure you can't run through Anansi forever, and I will make sure of that.
You would have sworn that there was a Ginger City grid on the board there. Okay, well, I think that's the end of that round. We'll be back for round. I think it's round 6 next. You'll be back.
Yeah, I'll be back.
I'll be bowing out for a little bit, but I'll be back later. And yeah, enjoy everybody. See you later.
Good lord, how many fucking huge losses do I need to kill? I got a new wand, right? Oh yeah. I can't equip both of them? No. That'd be funny though. Okay. I need 3 of a certain item, and they drop from huge wasps. I seem to have found a area where a lot of them appear, so that's a good step in the right direction. Still a pain in the ass, though. Funk. Pinch of prison powder. Probably acts like a repel. Fun. Okay. Alright, gotta crack this sucker open. Attempt to unlock it. Examine the lock. One of the 2 digits is a 5. Fantastic. It's greater than 38 and less than 70. Okay. Oh, let me go ahead and mute the stream while while they're on break. And the lock. The second digit is a 4 or a 5 and a 6. And one of the digits is a 5. I don't think I'm going to be able to solve it. We'll give it a shot. The first digit is odd. Okay. I guess we just go for 55. I know it can be 50 through 59. Just go for the median, I guess. Hey, there you go. I had a 1 in 10 chance. Oh, is that a gold coffer? Damn. Got an Evilith. Okay. Oh, my inventory is full. Let's go ahead and pop some crafting mats. I'm just gonna get rid of this Stygian Ash. I don't know why I still have it. Willow Wand is done. Go ahead and drink my temp potion just for kicks. And my temp ether as well. Cool. Lilith. Nice. Alright. That's a little breezy out, isn't it? Okay. There's 3 huge wasps here. 4 huge wasps. 5. There are 3 down there to the southeast, so I'm going to go ahead and get the one that's over here first. Come on. There you go. Huh. Cool. Treasure chest. Having luck. Greater than 33 and less than 64. Did I say I have 8 attempts? No, 6. One of the 2 digits is 4. Okay. The first digit is a 2, a 3, or a 4. So it's probably 34? Either 34 or hold on. Okay. It was 44. Okay. I should have gone with my gut. Yeah, there was a huge batch of huge wasps down to the southeast. We'll head back down that way. Hello, Minshasa. It's going alright. We are watching the Netrunner World Championship while I do this quest. I could just buy these off the auction market. I almost said market board from the auction house, but I feel like doing it legit. I need the XP anyway. I did just hit level 18, so we're about to get our first support job. But for now, we're just running around slapping wasps. Okay. Let's see. First digit is a 0, a 1, or a 2. Okay. That's a big one. No, second digit is 0 or 2. That's still pretty good. One of the digits is a 0. Okay. It's greater than 14 and less than 38. So it has to be it has to be 20, right? Yeah. Come on, man. Ugh. I've already killed like 8 wasps and I haven't gotten it yet. We're really in our fucking bare ass collecting era. Oh, pop that. Frank. Alright, no treasure chest. I found a beastman seal. First digit is odd. Okay. Second digit is 6, 7, or 8. One of the digits is 7. Okay. Second digit is odd. Come on. Alright, I guess I'm trying 77. It was 37. Okay. Sometimes you get clue spreads that are just like, they give you 3 things that can all mean the same thing. You just don't learn anything of import. Can you stop running, please? Alright. Perish. 218 damage, god. Pot of honey. Pretty sure that's not what I'm looking for. I need 3 bee pollen. Apparently they're only uncommon, but... Okay. Second digit is a 5 or 6 or a 7. First digit is odd. Okay. The first digit is 5, 6, or 7. So it's either 55, 57, 75, or 77. Okay, I think that's enough to go off of. Okay. So it has to be 77. What I guessed last time. Amazing. I almost did the wrong one. Yippee. Like. A pair of linen slops and a pair of bone leggings. I think these are still better than what I have. And I have to do more inventory management. I'm invisible. You can't see me. You can't use that command while invisible? You gotta be kidding me. Okay, I think I need to go smack a dude. Hey. Okay, cool. Well, that was terrifying. And then slops, please. Okay. Can't a... Huh? What is happening? I'm... There's some fucking shit going on right now. Hold up. Okay. Well, the chest came back at least. I hope. Oh, it's because I got another chest. Oh, man. The second digit is odd. It's greater than 23 and less than 39. I fucking love this game. Okay, second digit is 7, 8, or 9. So it's either 27, 29, or 37. So we try 29. Okay. And that gear's just gone, right? Yeah. Bone mask. Got no use for that. I have seen that item in 14 before, though. An attar of roses. Is it just like an accessory? Plus 8 HP, plus 3 stone, 11 all jobs. Sure. Oh, it's ammo. I mean... I don't have a use for it, but a stat boost is a stat boost, I guess. I guess that slot is also just used as an accessory if you don't have a need for it. That's kind of cute. Because I imagine a bag of rose petals is probably not going to do much in terms of ammunition. Another player here. Oh, they're a big boy on a mount. Good mount you got. Oh man, they're riding a crawler, and also they are so much faster. Holy shit! I can't get a mount soon enough. I think you get mounts at 20, right? Back. Yippee! Oh, you got roped into this. Sorry, man. I do have to kill you now, though. Oh, it didn't disappear because there was another chest. I don't know then. Okay, examine the luck. First digit is even. Okay, big dub. Second digit is a 5, a 6, or a 7. One of the two digits is a 6. Okay. The combination is greater than 68. So it has to be 69. Right? Here's 69 or 76, I think. Okay, so it has to be 76, right? Oh, it was 86. Okay, fair enough. I'm not even gonna bother with this one. Oh, I need to make sure I have space in my inventory then, so I can get wild drops. Wait, what? No. I got a weird notification. God. Somebody's going live notification was their name mentioned you. Threw me off. This is kind of giving me some hit single reel vibes. Oh, so I do still have thunder, right? Yeah. Hey, buddy. Wanna fucking fight? Bruh. Bruh. Okay. Event skipped. Oh. Alright. Got ambushed by the goblin ambusher. You guys seen that coming? Okay. Second digit is odd. That eliminates about half the possible numbers. First digit is a 4, a 5, or a 6. Okay. The first digit is even. So it's either 413579 or 613579. Okay. That's 57, 59, 61, 63, 65. No, wait, I'm sorry. It's only 613579. I think we just go for it at this point. Cool. Bone Subligar. And int. I hope all the grinds in the game are like this. Just fucking horrible. This is one of the quests that was added like only a few years ago, so I gotta stop casting while I'm still sliding. A remedy and a potion +2. Ah, you know what? We'll leave. If that seemed sarcastic, by the way, it absolutely was not. I'm totally fucking vibing with this right now.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. Welcome back to the 2024 Netrunner World Championships right here in San Francisco, California. My name is still Cranked.
And I'm Orbital Tangent, a.k.a. Josh, pronouns he, him.
Yes, and we are back with, we're starting to wind things down here at the 2024 World Championships. Now, before we get into our next match, we do have a bit of an update for the folks at home. The match that we had lined up on camera for you next was going to be Sokka versus the King. Unfortunately, the King had some other commitments and made the extremely difficult decision.
Oh, no.
So, our hearts go out to the King. We hope all is well. And absolutely huge congratulations to the King for not just his performance in this tournament, but his performance all year long. He's been absolutely killing it. But the good news for you folks at home and for everybody in this room here in the Hyatt in San Francisco, California, is that there is still Netrunner to be played. Sokka, the three-peat narrative continues as Sokka meets
see if the
D
chat has
in
anything to
losers
say.
finals.
Oh, I'm so excited for this. This is something that I have been
Damn,
waiting
that's
for all
rough.
weekend long. Sokka is on my bet runner, so I had to get that value. And if he can ride it all the way through, then maybe I can squeak out a win there.
And in addition to trying to run it back 2 times over as world champion, Sokka making the extremely gutsy play of running it back with roughly the same archetype on Corpse side that propelled him to victory last year in Barcelona.
Absolutely.
It is built to last, but we're not scoring agendas, or at least we're not planning to score many of them. This is built to last grinder. Sokka looking to install massive walls.
And that's
barriers,
heartbreaking.
just erecting that.
I hope
giant
everything's
W that
okay
the
with
Whaling
King.
Consortium is known for, letting the runner crash against the shore, break themselves on his defenses, and that he will break them with a copy of Clearinghouse.
Yeah, absolutely. That is classically how this deck will win. Is it will tick up a Clearinghouse and then just burn down your
Okay,
apartment.
I'll make sure the
But
stream
on the
still
other
looks
side of the
good.
table, we've got Deer. Deer has been absolutely killing it all weekend as well, piloting the ever.
Looks like I've got a little bit of
freelancer that we've
black
been
text,
seeing,
black
with
at the
an
top there.
absolute stranglehold over this meta game, and Deer is going to try to pilot their lat.
Let me go and get rid of that black part at the top
Whaling
really quick.
Consortium. Now, Deer's list is a little bit different. They are running Swift lat.
Tier
Yeah,
list.
Swift lat
Tier
is
list.
wild. That will give you some extra clicks over what Sokka was even getting in the previous matchup that we saw on stream in the last commentary in game.
Yes, because in addition to the Swift, we have the other traditional ways of these decks for getting clicks.
Okay,
We've
there
got
we go.
Hannah Wheels, Palintra, and we've got the DJ Fenris that can be used to gain the ability of an ID like Sable. But again, very flexible card. There's a lot of choices that you can make. In addition to Sable, you have you always have the option of the good old Steve Cambridge, Master Grifter. You could even go with a spicy Lou if you wanted to, although I don't think this is necessarily the matchup for it. But who knows? Maybe Deer is onto something that we don't know. Players starting to draw their opening hands here. Sokka with his thumb on his lower lip, thinking through that opening hand. This is quite the grindy built to last list. Now his list from last year did play, I believe,
One of the two
49
did. This
cards
is
and 7
9.
agendas. This one is on 44 cards and 6 agendas, so even less of a scoring plan here.
Yeah.
Greater than
So
82.
It looks like Sokka is having a little
So that's
bit
somewhere
of a
between
discussion with
89
the
and
judges,
99.
pointing out that more than 4 advancement tokens splayed out so that the stream can see them is get a little bit unwieldy. So We may see
Second
him
digit is
stack
off.
him a little bit, especially on a clearinghouse. So it looks like they're having a brief discussion on that right now.
Yes, just about the best way to represent it. We want to
First
make
digit
sure
is
that you
odd.
folks
Okay.
at home are able to follow the action
We'll try
as
95.
closely as possible and as accurately as possible, and we will strive to do that for you in return.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Although that is secondary to the players'
So it's either
table,
97 or
they
99.
do
We'll
need
try
to,
97.
be comfortable with how they are playing the game. So is Saka talking to the judge? That's very important. Just like calling a judge,
It was
saying,
99.
"Hey,
Okay.
I don't know if this is going to work exactly how you want it to. Can I make sure that this works for me?"
And again, players just going over their opening hands, thinking through what lines do I need to take, what's the overall strategy that I need to use.
I feel like I'm doing something wrong, but I know the moment that I doubt myself, I'm gonna fucking...
credit tokens rather than the poker chips that are on the table. Just so you are aware at home, those orange ones represent 1 credit, the purple ones represent 3, and the big red circle will be the 5 credit marker. Looks like we're starting this game off. Saka starting us off with a hedge fund, installing ice on R&D, advance that ice for a net of 1 credit, pass the turn back over. We're underway. This is the lower bracket finals right here in the 2024 Netrunner World Championships. Pass the turnover. It is D.
All right, excellent. So when you're D against this particular list, this particular build to last, what are you looking to build first? Because this lad is going to have to build a rig.
Hey.
He's going to have to put a board.
Got a bunch of XP.
down. It's not one of those runners that can just, as they say, run naked. So what are we looking to get on the board first?
I would think a barrier breaker, some sort
Daedalus
of fractor,
Wing.
and D does not have a lot of options available to them. It's just 2 copies of Propeller, and that's going to be an interesting bit of tension in this matchup for our viewers to look out for. Propeller is by definition, a finite resource, at least as far as those power counters are concerned. So once they're gone, they're gone. There are ways to reinstall copies of Propeller off of things like Simulchip, or there's like the second copy, for example. But there could be a point where D just runs out of Propeller counters.
Okay, so
There's a Basalt Spire. Oh, we're starting
right off
hot.
the top.
At least Saka's able to get that hedge fund back, but D is grabbing one of those 6 agendas on turn 1.
Oh, not off the top, out of HQ. I apologize.
Apparently it just is insanely low drop rate.
Oh, so as D, you're probably very happy to see that.
Thrilled to see that. Deer likely becomes just a bigger... Oh my goodness!
Oh no, there's
6
2?
points? Saka smiling to himself, hey, that's Netrunner, baby! No way! It can't be. Okay, it isn't.
Oh,
Just
okay.
Treelon on top. D saying it couldn't have been.
New plan.
Pass the turn back over. Saka in the hole already. Starting to be a rerun, but on the other side of his match with Zeech.
We're gonna go
Okay,
home.
but Saka has,
And I'm
in the
gonna buy a
last
bunch of
couple
gear for
matches,
Sparks.
come down
Yes.
from a
Flip it
deficit that
and buy
was
these off the auction house, 'cause holy shit.
Astoundingly difficult.
Also, if my
And
microphone would stop
there
falling,
is
I would
reason
love
to
that.
think that even with 6 points on Deer's side,
Oh, dear, is 6
still could
points
happen.
already?
You got it right, partner. 6 points is not 7 points. This game will continue. Saka with still a
Did
chance
Deer just
to
almost
grind this
win
one out. We're gonna
in one
upgrade
turn?
R&D, play that hedge fund.
I'm sorry.
Looks like we're going to ice a remote server past the turnover. Fermenter ticks up to 2 virus counters. D looking over Saka's list. What could hurt me here? They may be thinking to themselves.
absolutely.
Pondering.
Sorry, I'm
their
adjusting
hand.
my mic really quick. I'm
Where's
having
my
some
outs? Where do I
tech
touch
issues.
the last point?
Now, it's important in a
Having
situation
some
like
mechanical
this. It's
issues,
an
really.
extremely high stakes moment for Deer. They have to stay calm. It's
Absolutely.
important to not let the nerves get the better of you in a situation as tense as this, and against a player as good as Saka 234.
Yeah, you don't want to give Saka an opening. Even though you're on 6 points, if you just go wild trying to touch agendas anywhere, you could throw the game away. It's yours to lose at this point.
Here's R&D. What is it? Oh my goodness!
Oh no!
What?
Deer
Oh,
wins in 2 turns!
Oh dear!
And Saka's
Deer is
deck,
beside themselves. Big smile on their face.
Saka's deck just gives up the ghost, just gives it up.
All weekend long.
You get an agenda, and you get an agenda, and you get an agenda.
All weekend long, the BTL was a rock. Just the most stable thing in the world against these runner decks with such finite, limited resources. Deer overcoming all of it, finding a path to victory. And Saka, still with a smile on his face, his partner embracing him. It just still, a commanding performance from Saka.
Wow.
The three-peat was the talk of the weekend, and it was on the table until it wasn't.
It was.
And Saka still going to go down in this game's history as one of the best to ever do it, and rightfully so. Just all the congratulations in the world to Saka.
What the fuck is this game?
Yeah, but now the legend of the three-peat is over.
All we can think about is what might have been.
Yeah. Saka probably still going to stay in this game, however, you know. Probably going to be at another Worlds. The back-to-back-to-back-to-back is not in the picture anymore. The three-peat is still a legend that can live on in the next couple of years here if we see Saka come back.
Even Jordan lost in the finals, partner. Even Jordan. So Saka's never out of it. He will always be there. Run from him, hide from him. Saka will come for the World Championship inevitably.
Yeah, inevitably.
So here's a look at the bracket. We are going to be heading into grand finals here very momentarily. Aruzan is waiting for Deer. These two players have met each other, and in fact, it was in winners finals. Aruzan taking a game as Arasana over Deer's personal elevation. Now again, the way that the double elimination format works,
I'm gonna try and at least get one wasp to try and save myself a little
cash.
cash.
Lose a game in the top 16, needs to just win one game in the grand finals. The person coming in from the lower bracket has to win both. They have to sweep. So Deer still 2 games away from the glory. Aruzan just won. So the excitement is only continuing to build here in San Francisco, California.
Yeah, definitely. Incredible games yet to come. Just a couple more to go until we crown a world champion, though.
More than 27 and less than 36.
We've had incredible
64.
games all weekend. This has been just a fantastic experience, and
Second digit is
I'm
odd.
so glad that
Don't
we've
give me
been
much to
able
work
to
off
do
of
this.
yet.
This is going to be my last time.
One of the
on
2
stream,
digits is
so
7.
I do want to give a hearty thank you to everybody that has been watching and listening to us commentate all
First
of this.
digit is
I also want to give a hearty thank you, and I love you, my man, to you, Cranked. It's been amazing to do
I don't really
this,
have a lot of info to go off of here.
especially because you're an honorary member of the Slums Cast.
I don't listen to it though.
Oh no, neither do I. And my brother from another mother.
Second digit is
he's
7.
been here, and it's been fantastic to be on with him.
I guess 47.
I got to give the classic heartfelt earnest speech from your boy Orbs. Everybody, I am so glad that we get to do this. 12 years on. It is amazing that we still get to play this game.
That was like a 1 and 8.
And I couldn't imagine when we started playing it way back when it started that the game would still exist even now. And I thought we were done 6 years ago, and we are still here. We're still rocking it. It is still going. And I have to say, that's not just because of people like us that are doing commentary, although, we are putting in some work. Shout-outs to us. But it's because of everybody at home watching these. It's because everybody that puts in work every day loving this game. It's because everybody that cares for everybody here and who is a fan and is part of this community. You are second to none. We are second to none. Never let them tell us we can't. And Cranked, with that, I got to give it to you. What do you got to say, brother?
Yeah, fair warning to the audience, I'm likely going to start crying. So just going to let you know up front. With that being said, I've been at this game for a long time, over 10 years at this point. I've been watching Worlds coverage for about that period of time. And ever since I started playing, I always wanted to hear my voice over one of these streams. And never in a million years did I think it would be possible.
Bud.
Here I am. And I'd like to thank everybody at
That's
NSG
very
who made
sweet.
this possible. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for watching. Everybody at NSG, thank you for supporting me. Thank you for supporting us. A few shout-outs that I would like to give before I sign off for the weekend as well. The first shout-out that I'd like to give is everybody back in my hometown of Madison, Wisconsin. Not just my local metagame. Shout-outs to Avi, Hunter, Ben, and all the regulars out there. Oliver, who's actually here in San Francisco with us. But everybody who's ever showed up to one of the meetups, I love you. Thank you so much for making Madison Netrunner a thing again. It was a part of my life that was missing, and now it's back, and I feel like I'm whole again. But in addition to my local meta, I just want to give a shout-out to my family that's been watching me all weekend. They don't play Netrunner. They don't understand a word that's coming out of my mouth. So to my mom and dad, my brother David, his wife, his kid. Thank you. I love you very much. And the final shout out is to my girlfriend Abby. She's also been watching.
It's either 27, 28, 29, 37, 38, 39, 47, 48, 40.
And with that, my name is Cranked. Always be running. And as always, free museum.
One of the two digits is 3. So it has to be 37, 38, or 30. So we guessed 38. Then it's going to be 39. This... Wow. A clump of red mocha clear. Ether. So I did look it up in case you weren't watching, and yeah, this is absolutely just a monstrously rare item to find, apparently. Got a little, got a little Moogle hat on. That's cute. Good fucking lord. I'm... Hope you didn't say anything about this. I didn't even go here, and even I know that shit was insane. Go ahead and cut this while we're showing my social media asses. Okay, we're gonna go back to Windurst. The way time of day works is so funny, because all the lights just like fucking flash for a second. Oh, okay. Windurst, Woods. Pretty sure this is the one we want. Oh, there's the auction house too. Yeah, Sokka made a crazy losers run and then just got taken out in 2 turns. It's like watching somebody scream headfirst into a wall. You're the guy that sells. Okay. Now we're gonna go sell our shit. I'm good. Oh, okay. Hey, Watata. You know what? Gold instant warp, yay. Okay, so I should be able to carry more items now, I think. Yep, this is just like a saddlebag, basically. Oh, I've also just got an 80 slot thing that I can just use at any time. Okay, so I've got way more inventory space than I thought I did. It's just what I have active access to. Sandorians. Okay, so I've been in the fucking... I've been on the fucking inventory struggle bus for nothing. That's kind of funny, actually. Can I access it quicker with /sack? Yeah, I could probably set up a macro for it. Can I sell stuff to you? Yes, thank God. Okay. I could scrap the Evo list for 700. Hold on to those for sure. Keep those. Where's the shit I just bought? There we go. All this random ass meat. Not really worth selling even. I thought that guy was about to pet me for a second. I would not be surprised if there is a Taru petting epidemic in this game. Seems to be a thing. Oh, make sure I didn't pause this. Okay, yeah. What is this? Oh, this is another auction house. No. What do y'all got? Okay. Bard stuff. Imagine you sell ammunition. No, y'all sell songs. Okay. Okay, Bard store. Well, in that case, that means I basically just wasted 10k gil, because I'm not going to use that 80 inventory slots anytime soon. And my gil is better served otherwise for the time being. Obviously, eventually, that will be a good thing to have, but it's a little early for that. Okay. Go and see about flipping some crystals. Looks like they're selling pretty consistently for 7k. Okay. Nope. Okay, let's... Oh, right, the whole reason I came here was for the auction house. Let's see what that pollen is selling for right now. So I have come to a conclusion. What? There's bee pollen. Did. Wait. Huh? Okay, yeah. Okay, I get it. It's a stock market situation. People list the items, and then you put down how much you're willing to pay for the item, And if you get a match of somebody who is selling the item for that amount, or probably a little bit lower, versus the amount that you're putting up, then you buy it for that amount. Okay. Absolutely unhinged system. I love it. It also means it heavily incentivizes normalizing the prices because, well, there's no real reason to try and sell things for too high of a price, because if somebody offers more, you'll just sell it for that instead. That's interesting. Wow. The implications of that system are a little mind-boggling. So I've got one pollen at least, so that's a start. I think it might actually legitimately be faster for me to go level Thief and get Treasure Hunter than to just try and grind this out manually. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna get weird with it. Pretty sure it's the port, right? Oh, and we're back. Tell me if I got that right about the auction system, by the way, because I would feel pretty fucking sick if I completely guessed it correctly.
Welcome back to the Netrunner Worlds 2024 World Championship here in San Francisco. My name is Andre from the Metropolitan Grid. I go by he, him.
I'm Eric from Neon Static. I also go by he, him.
And
hi.
It's an exciting moment. I think the lower finals right there, that chase bracket was maybe a 5-minute game.
It was something new.
We haven't seen anything like that, and we're now at the finals. This has been 200.
Start a Shantoto Ascension.
We have so many.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Up and having side events, and we're
I got nothing better to do.
One standard game going on right now. We're gonna be diving into that real soon. This is Untimed Finals. Firstly, we should be jumping to the table real soon. We're gonna have PE versus Arsana.
I actually know what Shantoto's voice sounds like, so. Orin, my good Sir Reno. That's correct about the auction. God damn. Might have troubled you for a moment, Rooney, of your time diddly-ime. Why, Principal Koromoru, a rare treat to see you here, Thee. But of course, my Timothy is at your disposal. Let me cut right to the chase. I'm loath as I am to alarmadilly you, I must confess doodly-s my concern over Dr. Shantoto's recent ding-dang-doodly behavior. Dr. Shantoto? That the Doctor's predilections defy logic has always been common knowledge of thee, has it not? I don't see cause for concern of thee. Well, true, that's well and true as a giggity gaboo, but this time I can't shake the feeling that something is a brewerino. Could it be that the ambitious Doctor is diddly-dambling in something so unworldly and twisted-a-roo? It mightily idly cause unimaginable strife to be unleashed capished upon the world? My dear Koromoru, I dare say you're simply being oversensitive to one of Dr. Shantoto's trademark mood swingathies. Not every endeavor she makes necessarily causes a stir, after all. I don't think they ever had anybody read this dialogue out loud to see how it sounds. Whatever our eccentric purity might be up to, it's just as likely to be a passing fad. You wasteth your energy in worry. Now, if you'll just maketh yourself comfortable, old chap, I'll pour you a steaming hot cup of freshly brewed Winderstian tea. I sincerely hope diddly-ope is as you say, Orin. I sincerely hope doodly-ope it's as you say. To our woe with thee, in the days that followed, we were made to sorely regret our inaction at thee, despite the all too obvious warning signs.
this matchup is about damage. Arzon has especially on stream, some close kind of calls when it comes to damage, running through a Seismiton with 3 cards in hand and walking away. And sometimes it's this surprise damage, things like resing an enemy, taking the deep dives out of hand. He has few ways to break sentries. In terms of sentry
Okay, here we
breakers,
go. Wrap your mind around the picture of perfection, surpassed only by me and my immaculate complexion. You'll find not a hole in my theory. It is pristine. The greatest masterwork a magicking world has ever seen. Magekind is long overdue to take its next big step. With a pure genius of yours truly from a golden new era, we shan't be kept. A moment from now, it'll all make sense. Without further ado, let the magic commence! Polonies fruit effect wears off. Hark, portal, I demand of thee. Open up and set me free! What? My calculations were in error is... That my calculations were in error is beyond comprehension. That I could blunder I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure that's fine. Holy Droony, holy fuck. Sometime later. Okay.
This deck can get pretty mean, can get pretty expensive. A Nazi on the higher end, or have Vampiranasas. Those can be pretty annoying when they're res functionally for 5 credits. And also some data loops. But we're just running there. Now this is Arsana, so you might not see a breaker here. You might see a scary sentry, but Arzon can always use a Physarum, a Botulus, and or an Ika from hand as options.
We see a Botulus in hand.
We see a Botulus, so D might be interested here to res. No matter what's happening, that House of Knives is going to be at least 1 damage, but if D scores it, they get 4 net damage across a couple turns.
And if a second one gets scored, then every run ends up being a potential 2 net ping.
Now Shapers, modernly, we're looking at Lat. Very hard to flatline. Stone Chip Chart Rooms, Onicom.
The time has come for us to make our meteoric rise. All who oppose will be dealt an ample serving of demise. We venture forth and conquer Vanadil and claim our birthright.
Probably Arzon's best way to deal with this. That's 4 credits to bypass a piece of ice, 1 per summer.
Now and forevermore, the fire of the Shantoto Empire shall burn bright.
It might be the net. I think
I'm sure that's fine.
Happy dodging the net there. Botulus will only come in with 1 virus
Oh,
losing 2
no.
credits, gaining 2 credits.
No, that seems really bad, actually.
So looks like D is off.
Domina Shantoto.
Going to steal the House of Knives and take the PE.
So Shantoto got pulled into a portal and became evil.
Lose a card. We'll see what the card flipped is. Just a sure gamble.
We're going to be able to use that for a while.
And she made Nazi
we're kind of
puppets?
low on credits here, but stopping the House of Knives is a great start.
Is there fermenter in those? There's 2 copies of
pair of
fermenter,
fermenters,
and I
nice
think 1 is in
recovery.
hand. That is, yeah, second card in hand. That's an NPC fermenter.
Your spec works too. There's ways to bounce back. So one check. This deck is only a single coalescence.
Oh, man.
Really nice shaper card to get back on low credits. Now D understands that.
And Toto, you idiot.
Botulus will only have 1 counter.
What the hell am I?
Botulus is actually really important in this matchup. Even that Botulus cooks for a couple turns. With cards like Eventually Spree, can move that Botulus around and just spread that infection.
Spree Botulus. This is
cool.
something totally
That's
new. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Man.
Now, I want to say
Very
this
creative.
before. Lat, we've seen so much Shaper this weekend. Lat was the most represented identity, and flatlining a Lat is relatively hard. Lat's a card draw ability built into the identity box, things like Onicom, things like Stone Chip Chart Room. These are all don't die buttons. And Arzon's list in terms of Shaper doesn't have Stone Chip. It has, I think, a full playset of Onicoms. Or sorry, only 2.
I am already
Onicoms.
getting a lot more
There's
comfortable with the
actually very
menuing
little tech here to
system, I'll
prevent
say that
damage
much.
Or to react to damage before it flatlines you. Arzon has to be a bit more careful than some Shapers are. They can be a bit clumsy. They can be a bit more aggressive early and respond.
You really need to treat PE more in the traditional way of your cards are largely hit points, and you can't go spending them without really needing to use them. You're trying to spend the bare minimum of cards. You have to adapt the way that you play the game.
Yes. Now, we'll see how much that's ground down. It's notable, Arzon also is on a 50-card deck. 45 is the minimum. Arzon going for 5 more cards. This seems to be a very consistent deck, and there's a bunch of one-ofs, so, you know, the Muses and the self-modifying codes, that does help.
It'll be useful at 20.
Just taking up 1, D just icing up. We have some
We'll
big
just keep
advances
this
in the deck.
stuff
Of course, we have
for now.
Fuji Acid Retrievals. That's 3 net damage.
We just draw a lot of cards here.
Keep the beat
It might have been
on.
discard because of the Vampire Nasa, right? Draw 2.
That's right. We had an extra card.
Okay.
Arzon drawing up here, understanding the board state actually looks pretty slow. D not building.
I am pretty
threat that Arzon
proud
has to react
of
with.
ascertaining how the auction house
Open
works.
centrals with deep dives.
with
Sometimes
such
you
little
lose them just
information.
catching central servers, hitting something
That feels pretty
damage,
good.
Taking the deep dive out of hand, but an NPC Fermenter. Arzon, I believe, competed at multiple NPC events this year. Now it's going to give 2 credits per turn. D is, I believe, on actually 1 copy of a virus. So if that comes up, might come up. I don't think D is in any position to purge here as much as Arzon really needs those slow drips of credits.
Okay, so D has 6 cards in hand. We get a little Jeff in the background there. How many cards? What are the threats that D is going to try and present immediately here?
Immediately, it's hard to say. A Prana is something you want to get behind ice and start working on, and then dealing other net damage.
Sort of the backbone of the deck, right?
Yes, it's a really big card for that. Now, the other thing, if you get a cohort working, you can put cards in the remote server while there's a Prana threat.
Right.
You need a fork. You need to generate these sort of forks, where this is something you have to deal with because eventually you'll get enough power counters for you to flatline.
Okay.
At the same time, you have to be diffusing Fuji Regenesis.
So as far as I can tell, you can only change jobs in your
See a
house.
couple copies of Burner, I think.
I'm not actually sure how this is
Sounds
gonna
about right.
work
Yep.
because
Arzon
I
is
don't
a
think I have any compatible gear right now.
Burner is really interesting. I've been talking to him this
So I
weekend.
might be
He'll
running
often
around
burner
naked for a
HQ,
little bit.
Put agendas on top of R&D and then just send it in later on the same turn if he gets a deep dive to ensure there's agendas there on the
Actually,
way.
come to think of
He'll
it.
set up these multi-card combos. Now, card finally in the remote server there, 6 credits only for D, but that Vampire Nasa has 4 separate teams. Just not the easiest thing to get
Actually, I have
through
some
the boss rush.
questions.
Arzon
Open
thinking how
mod.
quickly you have to run here. We haven't seen any Rashidas. The stings are annoying. Generally, whether the first one, what side of the table goes on, you could argue either is better for you, but House of Knives, at least we have one here.
We saw a Muse being drawn. And we should mention that this is an untimed round, so the rate of play is going to be, you know, brought down back
It's
from...
thoughtful.
Yeah.
The judges are very clear. You can't really slow play. Like, we have to make sure the game continues, but this is not a timed round. There's no timer at
Oh,
the top.
I did have
So
something to
players
sell.
can obviously take their time. Spin
No, I
Doctor
didn't.
throwing that's fascinating. Kind of suggests that there's another Spin Doctor maybe on the table here. Obviously, the recursion, not super value here, but a bit of card draw. And Creative Commission there, Arzon's going to jump back up to 5 credits. Economy looking relatively healthy with the Fermenter going to be at 6 credits worth of counters.
Arzon not actually doing anything very risky there, but Creative
I'm
Commissions are a
curious.
little bit less powerful.
Yeah, Mog
Because
Wardrobe can only hold
like, you can hold them until
equipment.
the end of your turn,
This is where
when
you keep
might
all your
want to do
equipment.
net
That makes sense.
damage, and then you're going to play them, right? So they're harder
You
to
have
hold.
80 times 8. You have 640
And
slots for
do you have
equipment.
spec work? Not a lot of
It's actually
turns,
a lot more
though.
generous than 14 is in terms of equipment storage, but this game also has, I think, more
Boiler
jobs.
and Muse.
Okay,
Boiler is a really cool decoder. It breaks.
then I'm just a level 1 thief with no class.
And this deck actually can be a bit aggressive.
What equipment do I have
Things
on?
like Muse and Simul
Just
just to
beat
flicker
nothing,
these
right?
cards in and out. So on a turn that you have to run the Vampire Nasa, you can get through it for only 2 credits. That's a total steal.
Yeah.
However, a lot
I'll
of times
equip
you
everything
have
I'm able to
central
equip.
servers on those turns that you're doing deep dives, especially multiple deep dives, Peach Sean combos. We're gonna see all that spree stuff as much as this deck is, or this game is unfolding.
Not much.
In a
Simul
bit
chip's
slower,
going to have
more
a lot
concerned way.
I think the Simul chip's going to have a lot of value because if you end up having a critical program that gets trashed, you probably want that on the table so you can.
The other
recover.
6 are pay to use? Oh, okay. That makes sense
Thinking
then.
through the options here, D not scoring out Spin Doctor on the table again, suggesting the second one was in hand. The first one did hit the bin. Deciding what to push out here. Card in the remote server not res could just be waiting. The Prana Condenser doesn't do anything.
I will
else.
say, I think the
Now,
biggest thing they could do
such
for this
important
game,
card
and I know
for
people have been
deck.
talking about
We're
this
running
for a
fair
long
few agendas,
time,
mix
and
of
it's a
big
pretty
agendas
big
that want
income
punish,
stream
things like
for
hybrid releases in this deck. House of Knives, even Blood in the Water.
it's a pretty big
Sting,
income stream for them,
Genesis.
so I
These are
wouldn't
cards that can
expect
be
this to
used
happen,
fuel
but
the fast
if
defense
the 11 sub and the 14 sub were tied together,
Might need something like
I bet a
Woodward
bunch
Burger.
more
You actually
people would
can
play
flex
11,
stats
at least
up
just to
to
see what
5
it
if
was
I'm not
like.
mistaken. I'd have to really double check that math. But Moonpool
But also
is a
maybe
tricky card.
11's
Allows you to take the
servers would
full
just get
hand
fucking
that gets that
slammed, so
card
it might be a
value.
bad
Draw, you
idea.
have a lot of agendas, and you can use those cards. You can jettison to safety, throw them back into R&D, and use those to get those fast advance counters to score out some fast
Right.
agendas.
If the moon pool's on the table, then you can score out a 4-2, I believe, it's because you jettison it, you put the 2 agendas in archives, you shuffle them back in, you can install, obviously previously install the
Okay.
agenda, and then put 2 advancement.
Now we head
counters
down
on,
to the
so
port.
You have 2
Got
clicks
some
left.
gear to buy.
Yes. Now this list isn't on any 4-2s, but it doesn't mean that it won't set up the sort of combo where you can do damage by scoring an agenda and then feed something else.
Why is
Blood
there
in the
no
Water is very
easy
important. There's
way
only one of them
to
in
get
this
to
deck.
the
Naruto
shops over here?
has to
This
be
is
hand
like one of the
high.
worst teleports in the
Otherwise,
game so far.
It could be, hey, it could be a 0-2 if things are going D's way, and that's
Right.
generally lethal if that does happen.
You don't want to score it at a 4-2. You're usually holding that for when the HP is very low, cards in hand.
Now cards more on the table, one on top of an upgrade. Upgrades on the list, we're looking at Holloman, Tranquility, Mav, and Crisium. Some interesting inclusions. Holloman, such a cool card in these decks that don't seem like maybe too much is going on here, but you can quickly score an agenda while having clicks left in the turn to deliver damage. Warrior Tracker common in these lists, this is not exactly that. So whether it's a Prana cooking a cohort in the far remote server, or whether it's just agendas all over the spot, stings and more houses of knives, it's up to Arizon to kind of deal with this. We've mostly seen Arizon challenging remote service really aggressively.
Perfect dodge.
And it's harder to do deep dives.
Allows you to dodge all melee
Definitely
attacks.
harder. But here, he seems to be
That's
more,
literally all I know,
very
right?
focused on what's on the table. How is that developing? How can he deal with that before he throws on the central server?
Yeah, I think that managing the assets against PE is how you keep it from getting out of control, right?
Now the burner.
What do you think the upgrade here is?
I imagine it might be a Holloman of Tranquility. At this point, if you rezzed it, you're just giving information. It gives you a bit of value. It's a really cool card in this list. I think a couple other players we saw in the top cut were using that kind of flex slot. I think we see even fully operationals in some of these lists. It's kind of neat. We're cracking the ferment to get some money. That might suggest that we want to use a simul chip. Otherwise, that click for 6 credits here. I'm not sure how Arzon can use 11 credits. We want to check that on 3 virus counters. You have to worry that it's a virus. If you purge yourself into the Vampire Nasa, those subroutines are going to fire. Maybe Arzon can install Program from hand. You can always install non-Trojans from hand, but they will be destroyed at the end of the run. They'll be trashed.
Maybe just a virus.
Looks like
I'm going to run.
Thinking it through.
Zach asking for actions, and it is a virus. That is an alternate virus.
Magic here.
It's from 2023 World Barcelona, purging out the virus here. So Arzon has a couple options. Either he has a Physarum, it's very expensive. If he wants
For
to install
sure,
the
we
Boiler
want
for hand,
daggers.
it costs 2+2, and then does get trashed. But that is just the virus on table. There should be a window here to react again. You can only res the virus on approach.
Yep,
Theory, you can fire it on encounter, but by that time, the runner would have broken the subroutine. So Arzon here, we're assuming that happened on the approach here, which means if you can get down a Physarum, if you install a Muse, you still have a lot of ways to interact with this. You can technically flicker, if I'm not mistaken, the Bonchelus, and only get one subroutine if you install another program to trash that. It would be if you install a Muse, then you can reinstall the same Bonchelus.
Right, you can overwrite the Bonchelus to find the Muse. Yes, you can do that.
We're seeing what's going to happen here. Looks
and
like we're going to go for the Muse.
Play. We're going to play the Muse.
But it looks like it's a good idea to start with Dagger
Here. It's
and then
very
switch
likely. So you
to
can search Stack, Heap, or Grip for any card. If it's a Trojan, gets hosted, which is quite nice when you're dealing with Ika. Saves 2 credits. But it looks like we're going to pull out a blue Criminal Trojan there.
Yeah, Physarum Retainer.
It's a really nice altar available at Worlds. It looks like Arzon doesn't have it yet. Now you have to bypass for every single subroutine. This is the most subroutines on. This is a lot of subroutines for an ice in the standard format. That's
4 credits.
4. That's an incredible Physarum. As much as this is expensive. Now the Bonchelus is obviously going to look slightly redundant here, but very importantly, if it does build its counters later on, that's when he starts to bring around.
This now has become a very juicy target, even though it costs 7 to res for trash.
It's a snare! The one-up table snare!
A table snare.
Now D only has one of these on 3 credits!
How many cards
Okay.
in hand?
So we'll go ahead and start with the dagger then.
Now, I do not know if Arzon had lethal cards in hand, but Arzon is going to have to let go of that Muse.
1, 2, 3,
Was
4
fine.
cards.
Was on
We were
4.
saved, yep.
D baiting that interaction out, purging into the snare.
Virus
Unfortunately,
table snare.
yes.
Snare.
You'd love to be able to fire that. Now, that would be financially a problem.
And as
but
for the armor,
Arzon also laughing, down to 5 credits, both players. Not that many credits to name checking. That is the
There's
Prana.
a Prana.
So this card's super interesting. It's only 1 to
Want
res
a
4
bronze
trash,
cap?
Very expensive. However, this makes net damage.
they do not seem to
into
have
economy,
a bronze cap.
which this PE deck doesn't have that many econ cards. If we're checking really quickly, we have 1 hedge fund,
Bronze mask.
Is that
3 tattoo bola,
Okay.
Rashida. That's it.
Yep. And then Pranas.
And Pranas. And this card is so important. You see, like, how can you res a Nazis in this deck? You don't have a lot of money, and the answer is almost always Prana.
Popping a Spin Doctor. Gonna
Could
put
be
the
challenged.
snare and the Mavirus. Snare and
Bronze
the Spin
Mittens?
Doctor back in the line.
Yeah, now leaving them a virus in the bin is actually very important. Arzon already has 2 things that can be purged out on the table. Very
Not sure
interesting
where they're
when you
getting
purge
these
out at instant speed on an approach.
Are these-
But those cards are going to go back in here. That snare is annoying when you're trying to run RD to get that run to set up the deep dive.
Yep. Might just
It's like
ping
auction house
the
stuff. Okay.
deep dive out of your hand. And the Mavirus is going to force Arzon to hold
All right,
back
you know what?
and not, has to save up all those virus counters and do that as the last step, and then get purged while you're deep diving.
Yeah, it can be rough. Now, Simon Chip can fix it. Not sure we have access to that. And the big thing, Arzon, if you can find a Fuji early, especially before there's any traps on the table, then this is not exactly a trap deck. It's a Prana that could be a problem here. Stealing that one Fuji puts you on 4 points, and that's huge for this matchup.
Might actually be
Because that means
faster
that
for me
other
to use
Fujis,
my
if you
warp
steal the
potion
blank text,
for my.
because you win the
You know.
game before that text fires, and that can be really important.
Yeah.
Because each Fuji right now is 3 net damage. Arzon, not seeing a lot of card draw so far, as much as this game is just kind of been pushing itself forward, forcing itself around that Vampronasa to see what it'll take, kind of, you know, chumming the water. Be drawing there up on mandatory, if I'm not mistaken. We see the hand Ika. That's really good. That will give Arzon some confidence. If you ever run into a sentry, you can't just Arzon that out, host it for a bit. It breaks subroutines 1 for 2 subroutines, which is quite nice. A lot of these sentries you expect have multiple subroutines.
I hope it's been fun to watch me just like struggle through this early level bullshit, because this is actually really entertaining for me to like try and puzzle out how to get through this in a way that doesn't make me
just play that instead of the
want to die
Vice
too
Tangler,
much.
but Arasana has the text that says that after the run ends, if it wasn't a Trojan, that oiler would have been trashed.
Now something behind that.
If you go to an
again,
auction house.
you can pay 4 credits to check, or you can,
please.
you know, let one subroutine be broken, let the other 3 fire. Both of those are kind of rough here. And Arzon
I feel like I'm going on a
focusing so
journey
much
that
on
millions of
trying to
people
control
have
the
gone
server
through on
here.
this
We know
game
there's a
before,
problem.
and
So if you do
in
interact with any of these
in a
subroutines or touch an agenda,
time
any
that
way
this
to
game was
shuffle
even
for
harder
sure,
than
as
it
long as
was
D
than
rests
it
the
is.
Prana, they can get the credits and they can build up the board, or they can build up the threat.
Installing an Ika, which comes in for free, but is kind of
This is really heads up.
latent here. Yep.
So the big idea is that you have priority with Arasana when you want to use the ability. So
But
if
the struggle
Arzon
stays
wants
the
to install
same,
the Ika
okay.
First, if not,
Look, as long
you
as
get
I'm,
priority,
like,
could res something like
not
an
doing
enemy,
anything
do
that's
the net
particularly
damage, and that card's lost
unexpected
from hand,
or,
there's no
like,
interrupt. And so
right.
Arzon
bad
can't
for my
actually end up
progression,
breaking if the
I'm
net
totally
damage
okay
hits
with
the Ika
this.
from hand.
It's safe here. It's great seeing 2 players who are in contention for such a big title just sitting across the table joking.
Armor.
Yeah, no, it's always just great,
Head.
great energy, great vibes. I think people are enjoying this game, even no matter how competitive it is. So Ika's coming down.
Might
He's
go
on
ahead and
4
get
credits.
this
We're not going
back
to be able to
on.
res Tyson down. I think something like a Tattoo Bull is pretty annoying. We're resing a Prana. We're
Maybe
considering
not.
the Prana res. Less so, I think, about the ice, maybe more so about what R&D can hold. We have the stand credits. There's
I'm-
only 1 left in the deck. He's considering it. Resing
Okay.
the Prana here. Let's see if it's an enemy to throw out a card in hand, or whether it's just whatever the nice fun traps an R&D can hold. Any agenda will do something. It looks like it's Rashida.
Rashida.
Arzon can trash that for 1 credit, and D will draw
Yeah.
an unknown card. Rashida hitting the bin. Now going back on R&D with 3 credits. The cheapest ice tier Tattoo Bowls are really good and kind of annoying if you want to get through them with Trojans. I think this list has Gauss, which is not too bad. You break for 1, and if D,
Sounds
if
good.
they have ice in hand, you can do that swap and get your credits up.
Propeller as well.
Oh, Propeller, yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Eventually we'll run out of counters, but otherwise not too
Nope.
bad. We'll see here if Arzon wants to go again. A lot of times the strategy you have against Jinteki is run early, draw late to make sure you're not last click running. And now that Prana is up, Arzon has to be a bit careful because any single net damage gives D 3 credits. That's really big. You don't take the net damage, it prevents the damage, but D definitely wants 3
Alright,
credits
that's the
here
cap.
for sure.
You're going to bank that net damage until it becomes a lethal issue. That you
Bronze
can deal with.
harness.
Arison playing a deck now that kind of flips, you know, the Arisana deck flips the
So we're looking
normal
for anything
stream
that
of,
turns yellow.
self-modifying codes now
That
with
makes it a little
playing
bit
with
easier
the
to
3
spot.
Muses, which is a lot more flexible as far as dealing with things like a dash out of hand.
Even with environmental testing, right?
I think that
This
means
card,
there's not any of
now you
those
install
listed right now.
multiple things at the same time. Oh, there's a card in
Regenesis
the bin
for a Fuji.
For 4 points, D. Just playing it cool, no spin doctor on the table, discarding a card there. This is a 4-point play, gonna do 1 net damage.
That was
now,
huge.
Regenesis doesn't get the text there on Fuji, but that face down D just playing it cool, making the whole game about touching the top of R&D. If Arzon just ran archives, not only do you steal,
Oh,
you
wait,
get the
merchants are
flip,
selling
the
this
net
for
damage
like
being prevented.
nothing.
We're getting our first counter here up on 3 credits. That's a free score.
This is also
what the
Spark
deck can
gear.
do if you ever forget the text of the Regenesis
Okay.
can be there threatening any face down.
You're going to have to... It's going to
Oh, D-Play,
potentially
that's so
cause...
cool.
I know, that was very cool. You're potentially now going to...
I made this even harder on myself than I needed to, which is also very funny.
If that happens again,
Yes.
then the game's over.
And that's why you have to
You ha-
constantly check archives. It turns
Right.
the Prana on, so Arzon can spend his whole turn clicking up for credits, trashing.
Checking
that
archives is
Prana.
really hard with the
the
Mavirus.
Prana.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah, the Mavirus 2 is really annoying. You lose your Physarum, you reset on the botch list, but yeah, it can be tricky. You just have to flip the agenda face up now. That's not really possible without stealing it here, but that's 4 points. D's technically on game point. 2 more Fuji asset retrievals. It's a bit tricky with Moonpool, but it's technically possible on a bit more credits, a couple more cards in
Oh,
hand.
there's another face down card in archives.
Arzon doesn't really have to check that one, I don't think.
Until a card goes down face down on the table.
Yes. Yeah, Regenesis has a lot of text, and one of it is that no cards can entered archives that turn, so you can't do the classic like Biotic Labor Fast advance stuff.
And you can't moonpool.
No, you can't
either.
moonpool Regenesis. You can score it, just doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But yeah.
You can get 1 point.
Sometimes 1 point is 1 point. And speaking of that, we have hybrid releases. You can just kind of slowly eke towards 7.
Is
This is not a
it this
claw
one or
deck
is
on
it
the
the other
Shaper
one?
side as much as we have 1 SMC.
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and sell that.
How many
full
sparks
deck
do I
work.
still
So we're
have?
going to be drawing a couple cards, getting a couple credits,
Or
just getting
24?
rid of that
Okay.
Physarum. Understanding if we have that in the bin, that's probably what we're going to want anyway. So D, now next turn, 3 virus counters. We'll see if they want to jam something behind the Vampire Nasa. Pinhole, so much the money's gonna be locked down. I think we have 2 environmental testings, 1 in hand, 1 on the table. So Arzon just needs to install hardware and programs. A lot of this stuff can be cheap. Things like Simulchip is technically like 2 installs. If you trash a card, you can reinstall something this turn.
Simulchip, Muse. We have 1 copy of Coalescence, so Muse into
I've got the
Coalescence.
bronze
Yeah, it's a great way
knife.
to move that forward, get the
Got the bronze
pops.
cap.
There's a Simulchip getting 1 counter.
With the
What's
bronze
his score?
harness.
Cracks for 9 credits. We might just be taking money here if I'm not mistaken.
This is a Arizona deck that runs Anacam instead of Lilypad, thank you.
Frog, yeah. Yeah, Arzon's been doing a lot of testing. I think we've seen Lilypad versions before. He just likes the speed of the Anacom.
Right.
We're running HQ here.
It helps here in the PE matchup too. When an event gets trashed, you get to draw a card. And
Is
seeing
an enemy?
an enemy.
Understanding where that is very important for the deep dive plan. That
Bronze
is a card
harness.
that can confirm net damage, so D can just trade a card for some credits on top of the Prana Condenser if you want to do that.
And
Bronze
you can
mittens.
put, potentially another Fuji in the bin in the
set that up.
process and
Just be
say
very
you
careful.
can't
That's
check
all the
this anymore,
sparks
you
I
don't
have.
enough cards, and I'm going to score.
Install
I need
Coalescence,
bronze
take the money
subligar,
off of it,
bronze
immediately
mittens.
get another counter closer to environmental testing. So an okay economy here, and you can always simul chip that Coalescence as long as you hit N6, and I do believe we have a program already in the bin. So D with a face down card there in archives.
We do have a Physarum in the
Yeah. We'll see if they want to push the remote server. This board state hasn't evolved too much. Just an ice.
That's a cute little
and
hat.
Prana doing a lot of work. Definitely in tension here, and D might want to ice this up to make it more difficult. If Arzon does want to eventually go and trash that before I do.
What?
Well,
This
once
is
it gets
cute.
2 or 3 power counters, that's where it becomes really frightening. At 4 power
Okay.
counters, that's where you get into some big problems where like suddenly you can pop that into Blunt the Water and House of Knives and Stings. You're running like you hit a snare.
So Arizon needs to get this environmental testing popped in order to be able to trash that Prana Condenser, and I think it needs to happen relatively quickly.
Yeah, he could just run it, right? Like he has environmental testing working for him. We'll see how he needs the money. We know there's an enemy in hand, and I don't think Arzon's deck is actually that great at dealing with small sentries.
Port
We're
Winder
not seeing
7
any
each.
ties here. I think it's just an enemies and Anansi's for the sentries in this deck. That's okay, but when your breaker is just Physarum and Ika, moving that around constantly, running multiple central servers can be quite hard.
Do you think that the
ABC.
anemone that we just saw potentially goes to protect the
Each.
Prana Condenser to kind of confirm some
7.
damage either way?
There's a chance that D might want the enemy on centrals,
Right, for
just
deep
so that if you
dives.
go
Yep.
for the deep
Deep
dive, you
dives.
have a chance of going for the snipe. D looking.
So this was a mindscaping. Where
This is Netrunner. It is the grand finals for
Just redrawing it.
the
Arzon looking a bit concerned
grand
for
finals
sure.
for the
Can he
World
think this
Championship
through? There's the card
held
going
by
down.
Null Signal Games,
yeah, I think
the
he probably just wanted to
non-profit that effectively took the game over after Wizards of the Coast abandoned
5
it.
credits. Again, some of the scariest iced. It's very notably too. Like Physarum is.
And when I
not
say
something
abandon it,
that
I mean like
is
in the
like
most
up-
literal sense. They don't even have the
it's like
trademark
this is
anymore.
another-
They
that's a
they
face
abandoned the
down.
trademark
looks
years
like
ago.
it potentially could be a
They
Coliseum
they
or,
actually make new
I
sets
guess maybe
and
a Hollow Man
distribute
swap
them
of the
freely, just for the love of the game.
Is it on archives?
cheeky places to hide a Hollow Man.
Okay, we're gonna put
Yeah,
that sideways
it's an
to make sure
archives.
it's not a face down card. Now, Crimson Archives might sound strange. The only reason here is if this is a deep dive deck, you have to make a successful run on archives. I'm not sure if there's anything that would work here. Hollow Man is that's a place you could.
It is actually kind of
ice
sick
other centers,
that
and you
of
did
all the
just ice
games
that
that
up.
could have been
The only other
taken
big list is Tranquil
from the
Hunger that is not
corpos
legal.
and made
Now
into
you
a
can't
community
do that
game
there.
is a game about fighting against corpos
Gotta get through
and
this.
giving back to
We
your
don't see a
community.
deep dive just yet.
Christians are 5 to trash.
I kind of love that.
Yeah. 1
Ryan.
influence, 3 to res, 5 to
His name
trash.
is Ryan.
Used to be an incredibly relevant meta card with things like Account Siphon. And I think we saw a lot of players put 1 copy in their deck in this World Championship with things like Trick Shot, Burner, Deep
Right.
Dive. A lot of the Shaper decks are actually threatening some of the better, the stronger successful run triggers.
Yeah, it's a tech piece that comes out
On
from time to time.
Subligar.
Have we seen 1 or 2 pinholes so far?
We've seen 1.
So
So
there's
he might
still
have the second in hand.
1
Bronze
left in the deck,
leggings.
and an open HQ. So you
Those are the
can't
guys I should have
pinhole
been buying
archives
from this
through.
whole
You
time.
usually see it the other way around, but in this case,
First deep dive. Yeah, we have the second pinhole in
Yeah,
hand.
it's in. Yeah.
So that burner has been in
75
hand for a
credits.
while. I think a big thing here is Arzan understands if he burners and puts the generals on top of the deck, can you run and get them? Can you get the ice in front of that? I think with the Ika, you're relatively okay. Tattoo Bull is the one thing that we can't break yet. I don't think we have access to a Fractor.
Arizon playing
Tapping
with
the
the
Peach
idea of the Peach
Okay.
Sound, yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice way to face check, technically clicklessly, right? You want to install some cheap cards anyways because environmental testing. You're taking some risks here. 5 size and Tom, but with the Ika, as long as you have the modicum of credits, you can move, you can host, you can break. I don't think you have to pump on that one. But
It
Peach
is
Sound's a
strength
nice way to
2.
run to get your clicks back so you can redraw if you find something terrible.
Right. Ika is the same base strength, and it breaks pretty efficiently. So.
Oh, okay.
Now we're challenging the Prana here. We're going to use the click compression to go get the Peach Shaw installed on the R&D ice. This card is just so cool with Spree. This deck can get a lot of clicks.
And it immediately got weird.
Turn if you have it set up.
Obligar is like
down
underwear
that
looking
Prana
almost.
Condenser for 4. Arzon on no credits, but one more install later in the next
Okay,
turn.
yeah, I'm
So
showing a
it's
little bit of
gonna
leg
be
now.
Assembly on the environmental testing. So it's a bit tricky
That's
to
how it
always
goes.
like kind of pin down these sort of shaper econ engines.
Well, even like Poppy's
Okay.
SMC here
Yeah, you
to
could-
get rid of the coalescence.
Should we ready to
Silent
go
yeah, immediately.
farm?
For either the coalescence or just bring
Set
back
up
the
the
Trojan
Leviathan
and push it
gate.
forward. Yeah, Muse is a great one too. There we
A lot
go.
of options.
Congratulations, how was it?
Shaper tree of decision points just spreads out like crazy.
It's tree versus tree. They're thinking next turn, the Vampire Nasa will be able to be broken for free. And even purging on this board state doesn't make any sense, really. D is not pushing the game forward, but you just have to watch out that cards like Spree, if that gets played, you can move that botchless around. And so that you can use that as a breaker on a different server. That's something that you don't see. It's very unique to this card that you can move a botchless without losing the power counters. You don't have to simul-chip it, or sorry, the virus counters.
Right. We haven't seen a spree in hand yet from Arizona.
I don't think so, but
No.
Arizona hasn't drawn a lot.
No, it's been very little draw. It's been carefully considered runs.
Yeah. We're looking at 3 diesels, 2 Anacoms.
Okay,
No
click for
Dr.
2
Nuka.
credits and an ice on HQ.
So that could be the Anemone. Now it also could be on Archives if I'm not mistaken. But D on 7 credits going to make some change. We're on 4 right now on that Botulus. So D not really pushing the game forward here. Arzon can just sit back and set up. Draw through the deck, install some cheap
Right.
programs, some cheap hardware maybe. You can find a couple more of the breakers, a way to deal with a Tattoo Bull at this point in time. A DJ Fenris, mind you, is one of the list, and that's always a really great card in Vigenteki.
Gives you a lot more credit. If you make it into a Steve,
Yeah.
then you can, every time you run HQ, first time each turn, you get a card back right in hand.
Burner, HQD did just ice that up, drawing up a couple turns there. Might easily have an agenda in hand. The question is, what is this ice? And the question on top of that is, what can Arzon threaten here? Simulchip means that you can install anything from the heap, just trashing one of the installed programs to get 9 credits.
If I remember correctly, I think ice is like
Except for
equipment.
yeah. Now, I don't think this list is on Q-Bound because it doesn't line up well with his game plan of closing the game off with deep dives quickly. So it looks like no res, no Trojan installed. We're going to access. We don't have any money to trash.
We do have a copy of Carisha. Oh,
Regenesis, Moonpool, and a Vampire Nasa. 1 card returned to D's hand. So seeing where that Regenesis is, that's only 1 point. Now you have a couple options here.
it's an impactful point, though.
It's a big point
If you
sometimes.
take it away from them.
So now here, understanding where the Moonpool is,
Okay.
understanding where the Vampire Nasa. Vampire Nasa is a really difficult ice to deal with. Whether you want to just bottom those 2 cards, you can put them on top of the deck to slow down D's
I
draw.
kind of
but
want
if
to
you
try
just
solo
leave
it
that agenda
first,
in
just
hand,
to get
we're
that
gonna
Just go down the
experience.
bottom. Yep, and then you
So-
just go find that Regenesis
Yeah,
then.
you're going to run back and try and grab that. It should be a 50-50 on HQ, and if D did not run a res on the
Oh.
last click, the chance it might not now. Now with an enemy technically on HQ, are we going for a deep dive? This is probably threatening the deep dive. We know Arzon
Right.
has it in hand. Peachashawn will fire. D has to consider rezzing on 7 credits. The big Anansis can't be res, but all the smaller stuff is. We've seen where 2 Vampire Nasas are. Data loops are also in this deck. Very cool card. I'm not sure if that's going to end up on a central server. This is not a hush list as much as that is a very common Arsana card.
Deep diving into a PE is scary.
Oh,
It's
hey,
frightening.
Shantato.
Yeah.
Now that's a cool way with Burner to run HQ safely because you can't take damage. It also forces D maybe to res the Crisium grid on Archives and just spend more credits. We think one of this ice could easily be the Anemone, and that Anemone can take cards out of hand. We're accessing. No res. Getting a click back. I believe that's another Prana Condenser. We both looked our
Yeah,
head
we
under
were
as if
trying
we
to
could see
tilt
under the monitor.
card. It's a 2D plane. It's a 2D plane.
Now we're still 2 clicks left for running Archives.
What's
This is where
Christian
deep dives
cost
red.
to res?
3 to res,
3 to res.
5 to trash.
Yeah.
So this ice here, D did put it down with an upgrade. If you res the Crisium, Arzon can't trash it unless after you res it, you can respond by bringing in something to get the environmental testing, and then you can return and you'll deep dive.
Enfeeblement
You
kid
can
of
deep dive,
sleep.
it'll be an okay deep
I
dive.
just realized I have the
But if that's
text
the case,
covered
you
up.
always simul-chip and move
Sorry
the
about that.
Peachashawn over to Archives or
Yep.
rerun it back and get a click back. But if that's the case, Are you going to be able to deal with a sentry or a barrier? You still have Arsana. Looks like no res. One face down card hiding in there.
No res. Yeah, we're actually using face down cards.
The fire's
before
going to
the
purge.
upgrade. It is a data loop.
Big
And this
barrier.
Is
That's
a
a
hollow man?
Hollow
It
Man.
was this cheeky hollow man hide.
Arzon here.
Actually,
can
having
go
the
for
text
up
uncovered is
to
pretty important. I
6
just realized.
points.
I
It's possible.
don't know why I didn't think
to
of that sooner.
win
So let me go ahead
on this
and
deep dive.
cover that.
Oh.
It's unlikely.
How many clicks extra now? 2?
2.
Yeah.
So you can deep dive double access.
And let me go ahead
which
and
means
write
if you find
justify
both
this text.
Fujis, as long as
Fuji,
Arzon has enough cards in
and
hand.
a single point.
Well, he has a point. He just needs 2 Fujis.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Pulling the fermenter in. This will get 9 credits immediately. This means that if you do the deep dive and you
You know
access
they're
something
not in hand.
trashable, you know they're not in hand. There's one card.
Well,
that
I'm
could
gonna
be in
not
hand.
do
You know there's
that.
a 1 pointer in hand.
Right.
But here's the
But
deep.
the Fuji.
Yes, the Fuji probably
There's
not
2
in
more in the
hand.
deck. It's unlikely we see both of them in 8 statistically, but I mean we've seen wilder things happen today.
We've seen D have some good fun doing some deep dives on stream. We'll see how deep we can go. Throw these cards.
I think I'm
on the
still
table.
covering
We're
some of
looking
it.
at 8.
Oh, we got to flip them one at a time.
We definitely will. Starting with the
Prana.
Prana that's known into a cohort guidance. Tranquility to Wage Workers. Just a high trash cost. Honk Honk Hedge Fund. Dato.
Great
Sting.
spirit,
Sting is a
maybe?
frightening
And a
one to
Fuji.
Fuji.
Okay, I hope that's not taking up too
So
much
nice.
space.
Both players recoiling here. What's the damage math on this?
1, 2.
This is 5
3.
net damage. That's hard to deal with.
It is. And how many clicks left? Oh, so well.
Arizona only has
none.
3 cards in hand. Now you don't have to touch this. You can take the Fuji. You can maybe draw. That's probably the safest thing here. You generally just don't want to touch the stings. Let nobody touch the stings.
Taking the Fuji.
We're gonna take the Fuji here.
Leave the rest.
Now you can
That's the
spend
safe
another
play.
click. Arzon here probably doesn't have another
Stamp.
deep dive because if he does, he's losing it. This is either 1 net damage to 2 net damage, depending on the order. It doesn't really matter here. We know there's no Steel Skin Scarrings. So one of these will be the PE damage and the other will be the 2 because of the text on the acid retrieval. Using the pinhole, we've seen these cards, environmental testing, into the Oiler.
Looks like this guy's got a squad over
Arzon
here.
has a click left to draw. Can D do lethal on 1 card in hand?
Would have to draw. They would have to
incredibly
draw
unlikely.
a blood in the water after the shuffle, right?
Oh wait, no, those are all
Install,
trusts. Never
have to
mind.
do 1 more damage.
Score plus 1 more.
D only has 1 blood in the water.
Right. Plus 1 more damage, and that.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
where
don't
that
know.
comes for.
It seems really difficult.
With the Chronic Condenser Trap.
They have to do
I
something wild
think-
with Moonpool, but D doesn't have enough cards in hand here. Arzon might be safe with a single card in hand.
Right. You can't install a triple advanced Sting. There's the Regenesis in hand.
Can Holloman do something now on 7 credits?
It takes
he goes
6.
Sting. D could fast advance a Sting
If
with
the top
Holloman.
deck is a
crit.
Sting,
Yes.
then that's lethal.
Fast advance Sting Holloman is lethal. So Arzon can risk running archives, dies to an enemy. But if trash
I do have to
Holloman-
raise
now,
my
if you
dagger
don't
skill in
draw,
order
you just
to,
die the one of Blood in the Water.
learn a
So
weapon
if
skill,
one
so
is
I should
ready
probably
to
stick with
go,
this anyway.
Understanding that they have the line here, if they have a Sting in hand, or if they top deck a Sting.
We have we top
Dean's
deck.
saying, I don't have it. I need to top deck this. If D can find the Sting,
Less than
it's
24.
3, we know it's one's back.
Bracing himself. That does not look like it. Or this is.
I don't know. D. That
Whoa.
install? No.
0, 1, or 2.
Pay 4.
Hold your breath. Hold your breath.
House
House
of
of
Knives.
Knives. Whoa. That was a tense
Arzon losing
moment.
the burner. Now this is going
Alive.
to make the deep dives much harder, but Arzon is definitely alive here with no cards in hand. That top deck.
One of the 2
Your
digits is a
heart's
1.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Now that Holloman is alive.
The combination is
Guys,
less
he
than
doesn't have any
24. The
credits.
second
That
digit
was
is a
credit
0,
perfect.
1, or a
You have to
2.
watch out. That gives you a once per run ability to do just a net damage. So if you're trying to make all these runs and get a deep dive off, it's only going to get harder. That's free prana.
Do we just draw? Draw.
Yes.
Like
5 to 4. It's all about the deep dive.
That's
Trying
another
to
deep
do
I guess I just
Honor
try
Con, it's
11?
Honor, I
Honor.
believe.
That's
yeah,
right,
trick
full
shot, scary. You can make some runs here. Now that's going to give you some safety, some click compression. The fermenter ticking up too. Running R&D here, you know, snares.
It was
can hit
12.
you. If you find
Okay.
Fuji here on a single axis, I'm not sure if Arzon's making a run or just passing the turnover.
no credits.
No credits.
D's on nothing.
Yes. Now you can still flatline. If you run with 2 cards in hand, if one of them's an event, you're safe. But otherwise, you can get House of Knives into Sting. That's 3 net damage, so
That's
it
right.
depends.
That's right.
Arzon knows how safe this is, but it looks like the turn is passed over. Install on
Not
top of the
using a House
Holloman,
of Knives.
game 2. It's back to Arzon. We're taking up that Vampire Nasa has been there since turn 1, protecting the House of Knives, and now this House of Knives is protecting D here. A lot of money on the fermenter. Arzon
Looks like 3.
hovering over the board, trying to figure it out. I do think it's 3. Knowing how many cards you have in hand with the events is the one piece of information
Just
that
gonna pop
he
it.
has. Gonna gain.
Oh, there we go. Replacing with a 3.
spin downs. They're nice. Wow. 2 cards in hand here. It's all about that last Fuji. there's one more in the entire deck. That's a 3-pointer. Otherwise, Arizon has to eat a fair bit more net damage before this game is over. And that card in their remote server on only 2 credits. It's a Rashida that throws D back into the game here, but you can't really score out much. You generally need about 4 credits of fast advance.
What do we think this card in the remote is?
It could be anything.
It could be anything. I think it's Rashida.
Rashida would be quite nice. We've seen only one so far. Diesel is going to be draw 4 off the Onacom trigger. Mind, this fires anytime an event is trashed. Very notable in the framework. An event is trashed after it's resolved.
We see an SMC, a Gauss.
And Spree eventually going to do work with the Pichashon. Now this is a window where Arzon has good cards in the hand and D does not have good credits. Running RD for single, running HQ, again, a very big thing about Deep Dive is it shuffles the deck.
And Trick Shot.
You can just send it here with the Trick Shot, potentially. It might be relatively safe. You don't have a great way to use the credits. It is just multi-access, and you could go the other remote server, maybe trash a Holloman, get through most of the Vampire Nasa.
Yeah.
This actually might be a consideration here. Again, notably Arzon in the upper bracket just needs to close this game to get that 2024 World Championship title.
Popping the Fermenter.
Gonna gain 6 credits, trash that program. You might be making a run here, whether it's just to deal with the Holloman, that might be reasonable, not having the Trick Shot. Now you can Spree cool card here, whether it wants to move over the Pichashon to get a click back after the run, but we're running into Vampire Nasa.
I might go ahead and summon my trusts anyway.
So we can choose what you want to break. Giving D credits seems bad. Arzon losing credits, totally fine.
5 cards in there?
I think so,
More?
at least 5. Maybe more. It's been a big diesel draw with Onacom. You got cards for days. So allowing D to draw. If D does need cards in hand, Burner did reduce those cards, so we can touch this. It looks like the credits also lost from Arzon.
See what the face down is. It's a cohort guidance program.
Now, if you're watching, you don't have to don't adjust your television. Those are black and white photocopies. I want to take a second to be very clear. Netrunner proxies are legal at all levels of competitive play. The fact that you watch the World Championships and these are photocopies from the event, come out and play. Trashing that whole server down to 4 credits.
Fucking black and white photocopies as cards. That's so funny.
Extra burst economy. Self-modifying code. Another surprise that Arzon might not pre-install. Looks like he's just going to discard that Montreal special.
Second digit is even.
5 points.
I don't actually
He can
care.
get a Moonpool on board.
Yes. You need some money, but Moonpool can fast advance a 2-pointer. The only 2-pointer in this list is the Blood and Water, which eventually has big numbers on it. It can be a 5-2 if Arzon being there.
Okay.
Right. So it's definitely up to Arzon to manage his hand and make sure that it stays high at the end of turns.
Otherwise, double hybrid release, turn after turn, can put D up to 7 points.
Right.
Takes a bit of work. Credit, install. Again, this Vampire has been so good. Just saying problem after problem. Are you going to run it?
Ice that's been rezzed.
It's the only ice that's been rezzed. I believe D's on 4 credits. Some of those counters are stacked. Arzon not having just yet access to the 2nd or 3rd deep dive. You could open here with the Diesel and say,
I like the level up music comes from wherever you leveled up.
Now this remote server, there's no face downs in archives, so you don't have to worry about Regenesis closing the game out of nowhere. Regenesis, even to the Blood and Water, you can just get 3 extra points. You don't need to hit 7 if you hit 8.
Does Arzon need to take an off turn to rebuild from 4 credits here? I don't think that we have a whole lot of economy generating cards in hand.
Look at Arzon's deck. None of this is about, all of it's about interacting. None of it's about going to sit back and hit my toe. Like, it's all be like, I'm going to get my environmental testing, and I'm just going to run on stuff, install programs, and push myself forward. Which, personal evolution, we still have the House of Knives scores. Running and interacting can be quite frightening. Dion exactly the one snare worth the money that the deck includes.
I'm missing.
Both players talking across the table. We're in the next room, and obviously things have got quieter. There's still a lot of startup gaming, but there's a bunch of people just on the other side of the camera around this table watching this game.
There's definitely a crowd gathered around.
Yeah, always the attention can be pretty fun, but both players still having a great time. What's about the options here? 4 clicks for Arzon.
Oh no.
Exciting seats to be sitting in right now.
Squad's in danger.
I think if he wants to open there, I think
PP, no.
juggle the card to the front of the queue, whether that is the thing that's being considered. It looks like trick shot send it.
you break the net damage sub on the Vampire Nasa, I suppose, and then just
I don't know.
As long as we get this crawler, I think we're good.
You might just trick shot to see more cards. Boiler got trashed to damage a while ago.
Yeah,
it's gone. No, it'll come back.
Oh, she's out of MP.
That was for the
Okay,
3
crawler's dead.
left. So we're gonna get 4 clicks here.
I think we see a simul chip.
Diesel.
Oh,
draw
and
4
there
off
she
the
goes.
Onacom.
Appreciate
Hey,
Arzon
Parky.
holding his hand a little bit forward.
Yeah, players do differently. It's good for the top down camera for sure. We see a creative commission. Hannah could be very important as a safety trigger. Orisha's just coming down.
There's a lot of trashing you have to do. Those prana condensers, those Chrysium grids, actually,
It only does acid.
Yeah, it won't work on a Chrysium grid.
Now, there's a chance this is just for spec work, for something to push yourself forward, something so you can feed to simul chip, but we're just sending it. Going for the deep dive. Sorry, not the deep dive, the trick shot.
Trick shot.
Obviously, what a strong shaper card from the last set. Sending it. You're going to get a click back here. There's a possibility you're actually threatening deep dive. Now, D doesn't
You're doing
know.
both at the same time.
Yes. Because you
Oh, XP
probably gonna get
chains.
the Peach-Sean trigger here. And Arzon having a spree can Peach-Sean again off of another central server. D might not know how scary this run could be. Now, House of Knives can do up
I
to
might
3
die.
damage on a deep dive, 3 runs to set up the central servers.
Deep dive is 3 or 2 credits?
2 credits.
2 credits.
Yeah, the money can be close.
Yeah. Because
Looks
it's
like-
looking
Oof.
tight there.
No res. We're gonna get 2 more credits. We're gonna get a click back here.
Cards here.
2 cards. The top is the top.
That's
a prana. It's always a prana at the top.
I think it's a prana.
It's a prana.
Man,
You can
let's
trash
peek
that.
underneath the card again.
It's definitely a prana. Yeah, I see the person.
yeah.
So we're gonna trash that, get some value
It's
to Prisha
Prisha.
right away,
Yep.
and of course some of that deep dive, or sorry, trick shot credits. So
That's
it's
a
a sting. Okay,
2?
first sting.
X plus 1.
It's algebra. I think it's 2.
Yeah.
1 for PE, 1 because Sting says that.
Those words.
So we're gonna take some cards at hand. There's a spree. Oh, we wanted to
want
see
to
that.
see this being played. Yeah.
There's another in the deck, that's for sure.
This is the classic problem with with sprees. I mean, with PE is like we want to see the cards do their cool things, but they just turn into armor.
Sometimes hit points is just enough. We're losing the Gauss too. That is a fractor. One of the
5-5.
options in the deck. It is now 5-5. D
That's click 2.
not using. It was click 2, but the click came back, so technically sort of yes.
That's true.
Now the money's lost, not sending it to the Vampiranaza there with 2 clicks left. Not having the spree here, I think it might be hard for Arzon to get a deep dive in this turn, but he doesn't have access to it. This
'cause
might
you
just be
can't-
slow down creative commission, see what happens to the remote server.
You can't do both the net damage and losing the credits off the Vampiranaza here.
Yeah, very, very tricky. The Singleton Blood in the Water, I love this in open deck list. You have to respect this as much as this is the least likely deck, or the least likely card you are to see.
It exists, and so you have to consider it might be there. I think, is that a daily cast?
Yes, Simulchip Daily Cast. Now the Simulchip gives a lot of ability here for Arzon to pull any problems, of course, the toolbox. Now going back here is interesting. You see another card. This also gives you the Peach-Sean, and it turns it to hand. It actually gives you a hit point,
Yep.
which is kind of
Yep.
fun.
Yeah.
Now D could go and try
Mobile
and snipe
armor,
it
yeah, and I
into the
think
House of Knives. It
there's
looks
that
like D
holding up,
wants
like-
to get that down because that card is just giving you extra clicks. You can't just have free turns for running. Well, this is about click compression. It's damage. So we're going to shuffle that up. We might just send the House of Knives. Or just on the top, this could...
This could be game. No.
Mindscaping. He's played a couple of those so
Any
far,
access.
just sitting at the top of the deck.
Okay.
Any access?
They're both on game point.
It's not likely. It's only 1 Blood in the Water, 1 Fuji left. So he has some work to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably going to be 2 agendas, but you're not right. Well, not wrong. Sorry.
Yeah.
1 agenda.
You're not
Like,
right.
there's
Fuck
only
you.
2, and
It's
D knows
harder
that.
for D to cross the threshold to winning the game here in this moment without scoring first one other agenda.
Yes, and we know D has the Regenesis. Now, there's a chance that D could score out the Regenesis
Do you think this
with
is
no
Regenesis?
tech. The thing is, that D could score that out and just hope that in the future they draw into hybrid release.
Right, you draw one of the 2 hybrid releases.
Install advance. There's no claw in this list.
Yep.
You can't just fast advance out. D has a reason to push to 6 to force Arzon to be aggressive here. Otherwise, Moonpool is the other big thing. We know 1 Moonpool went to the bottom of the deck,
It's
but
too
also that was
expensive, though.
on the shuffle turn. That was before the deep dive.
Mm.
So you know how we shuffled the Moonpool on the bottom of the deck? It's anywhere now because we
That's
shuffled
true.
right
It's been
after.
shuffled. And
Yeah.
here's a new Spin Doctor, which is going to shuffle. Potentially.
So D drawing through the Mindscape.
I'm gonna say, hey, Tenzin, you want to get in on this?
Some cards back here. The Mavirus and Archives does poison it. Having access to that can be interesting, but we'll see what cards do go back.
Full lane roll.
Second Spin Doctor.
Fair few options there to
Everything's
consider.
face up, so we'll see. It's the Hollow Man
Yay.
That guy's everywhere.
and Rashida. Yeah, Rashida would have been very nice
Ooh,
several
apple juice.
turns in a row here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Notice D's plan of just saying, I'm going to put stuff behind a Vampiranaza is pretty tricky for
All right.
Arzon to deal with.
Later,
for that
Minshasa.
turn. Yeah,
Thank you for
sometimes
swinging by as
Best
always.
plans are the most straightforward.
Hope you have a great rest of your day.
Shuffling up here.
Find a scary squid.
You
Put
can't
stuff-
see this, but right off camera on the kind of closer sides to the edge of the screens, there is 1 judge for each player just watching over, making sure board state is great. A huge shout out to all the volunteers here. I believe the judges specifically came in for the UK for this.
Yeah, this
Shipped
is Cobra Bubbles and John Alden last time we
yes,
checked.
the best and the brightest from across the pond. think we're doing a deck shuffle. I think there's a chance here what's being checked is that D sometimes puts their cards backwards, and you shouldn't be doing that because it technically marks a deck. So I believe the judges just went through and made sure the deck was in the right orientation. All right, we're going to hit the start of turn here. I believe the Spin Doctor might have been popped
Smile
before.
on Arizon's face.
These players have played before. I think the last time I've seen them in the same spot might have been in NPC Boston. Arizon did travel in. D is not far to drive in there. I'm not sure if
Wasp Sing, we learned in action.
but Arizon been grinding this Arizona list. I'm so excited to see this
It is
at the
very,
top table.
It's super exciting to see Arizona after what seemed like, you know, Arizona was just out of the meta after the World Tree ban. And here it is.
Yeah, this is it.
With a unique deck that somebody's been working.
Yes. The opening there with the Mindscape.
Come on.
Going to get some cards, put something on top of the deck, understanding that
Lord.
Arizon going for single might not convert to points.
Similarly, the
Oh boy.
Loud has been this cooperative effort from QCM.
Yeah.
They all have, there's so many different variants of this thing.
Yes. And they all mix loud, louder, loudest.
It's my turn to be the loudest mom or something.
I think D was specifically saying
D's version is called Loudred.
one of the ideas was if you can't bring your favorite deck to the world, bring the deck that most people don't like. I could paraphrase a bit better than that. But getting 2 credits off the daily cast, putting another ice on the server after getting some
There we go.
options with Mindscape. Card behind 2. I think D needs to control the narrative here, force Arizon off central servers. Something behind the Bomber Nasa with an ice in front.
A House of Knives, a Regenesis, Yoshida. There's a lot of things this could be.
A ton of options.
Yeah.
Arizon considering here doesn't have access to a deep dive yet, but with enough events in hand on the Omicron, he has a finished armor if he wants to start being aggressive. Yeah. Sandwich chip coming down, that will give you some options. You could always get the Fisarum if you run into a Terrible Sentry. Down. You don't have money to res the Anansi's, but you don't want to be bypassing that if you can avoid it. Still haven't found a Tattoo Bull. I think it's only a amount of time. It looks like we might get a Diesel here to draw 4, but looks like we're going to check first. House of Knives just waiting there. A bit of a Chekhov's gun.
Considering the red.
Down on only 5 credits. That is a snare's worth and a bit. But Arizon can get the single access. There are 2 cards in this deck that can seal the World Championship title. 5 to 5. We're looking for the 1 Fuji. We're looking for the 1 Blood.
Right.
The water. And this is a known card.
It's an Anansi.
It's a Nancy. D put this on top of the deck with Mindscape, if I'm not mistaken. So taking no risks
Right,
there, actually.
right.
Yeah. Sometimes, Arizon, you want to respect your opponent. Say, like, hey, sometimes you have to put something strange there because you know I won't check. So you get into a bit of a game there. Do you want to change the door you're accessing?
I'm just gonna let alone.
Mindscaping, yeah, adding a little bit of security that you otherwise just can't have. So,
Yeah.
besides, you know, like a bacterial reprogramming.
Arizon drawing up on 5 credits. That is getting close to what you need to Moonpool. Moonpool is 3, and then you get 2 advancements. Now that'll score at a 3-2.
Didn't kill.
This doesn't have any, so you're looking at a 3-1 here. I think D has a good shot with the double hybrids. If you can get those through, fast advance 1, score hybrid, close the game out. If you do have the Moonpool, the problem with the Moonpool is the shuffle agendas to R&D, and that's the server that Arizon's been running the most.
Just playing the slot machine, see if you can
Pressing
get
a
one little
cohort?
payout. It is the cohort.
So this gets interesting because cohort is going to discard
Oh, I see.
to draw a card and gain 2 credits. And having a face-down card in archives is frightening. We saw that Regenesis happen pretty quickly for a slow-moving game at that time.
Such a fantastic card for D to have managed to keep in that server for a turn.
So if you can fast advance Regenesis in a way that doesn't disable the Regenesis text, so if you have to not put a card in archives, that face-down there can matter. Now, some Jinteki decks will use that, you know, throw a bunch of small 1-pointers like Stings that do a lot of damage to archives, so it's hard to check, it's unsafe to check, but up on 5 points for both players. Arizon can, yeah, it's getting a bit tricky to do that, that's for sure.
I see why you need a bow.
One Peach Champ. So any ice you res, if you think, oh, that's going to drop Arizon down to 1 card, man, anyone who's trying to drop, you can get the Peach Champ on it, gain that extra
The
click
Gudo
suddenly and have
Bead
2 cards to
Necklace.
draw.
Yeah, that adds a lot of flexibility. Plus the Anacam, potentially drawing up if an event gets trashed.
So D here, looking at the options they have. 2 cards with the mandatory and the cohort.
This has been super scrappy from both sides. Everyone's been down on like low credits, but eking up to 5 points.
They're making like these, you know, slow plays, the subtle plays. If I'm going to put something here, how are you going to interact with that? I'm going to put some pressure here. It's been
Like
good fun.
Arizon's hands in his hair, just staring, just going. And need to stay focused.
Honk, honk. That's a hedge fund. Goose game. Game 4. We're going to install an upgrade on HQ and a second ice from R&D. Upgrades on HQ here. We're looking at Crisium Grid to play into.
Oh, I have to actually target it.
Guess the viruses are accounted for unless I don't think D shuffled them back.
Okay, so I think what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to make a book for each job.
But Tranquility Home Grid does not belong on the central
Macro book.
Upgrade on HQ. Arizon has a full playset of burners. I think we might have seen one and maybe a second one without loss of damage. It's a 50 card stack here, so Arizon has a bit more hit points than you might expect. But even at the end of the day, you have to make 3 successful runs to hit the deep dive.
This
the
seems
Crisium
like,
on HQ.
I agree. This has to be the Crisium on HQ because at this point, a single deep dive is all it takes.
Arizon surveying the land. Has the money coming in. I've never seen that 2-die method on the daily guide. It's like 4 clicks and maybe some more with Peach showing that the hand has been in hand for a couple turns. Another remote server, the cohort's not going anywhere. Going in for a trick shot. I think this is the third one. 2 ice deep, simul chip to get breakers, a hand of, I want to say 4 cards. With an
2 to res, it's just touching.
Swippity swappity. He has another barrier in hand. Can flip that for 4 credits if Arzon wants to go through this. Now, this is not the sort of card you want to put a slab vandal onto. Whether you want to pull that Gauss with the simul chip, you're going to have to end up probably trashing the Parisha, is what you don't really need here. And also walk away here and say, D, okay, you're on 7 credits here if you're counting to get that money.
And then use the other credits that are on the trick shot to go take care of the
cohort.
Because there are 3 virus counters in the box. So the Vampernasa, I keep wanting to say Jazzrin.
It is kind of fun to just watch the game do its thing.
Is largely taken care of.
Yeah, you can lose 2 credits to that. Notably, lose credits, you can't use the trick shot credits. You can only lose from your credit pool. So see if Arzon wants to go for it. In terms of the fractures, we have 2 options here. Propeller and Gauss. Gauss, we see it's 3 cards down on the heap. He's thinking here. Sometimes bouncing on the tattoo bullet feels good. You're going to waste the trick shot double axis, though. And he has the ice that's been on res for a couple turns now. Hasn't been res even in the early game for a couple, single runs, let alone trick shot.
Some long consideration from Arizon, but I think it makes a lot of sense to take the time to make the right decision here. We are bouncing.
It looks like we might be walking away. And we'll see if we can send those 4 credits to the remote.
Even match. That's the first time I've seen that.
Choice here. Arzon still has 2 deep dives left in his deck. He's drawn a fair bit. Some of it filtered, some less so. If you want to send it HQ, there's a chance to agenda if you want to find that upgrade. But Bola. Forcing the same problem as it did on R&D, and here still holding the House of 9, maybe waiting for a product condenser to come in to make that guaranteed econ. That's plus 9 credits.
The threat of the House of 9 is just like cook there. Eventually, it might forget about it.
But like, it's such a cool card because you really have to care about all the priority numbers.
Yes.
Because Arizona has priority. So if Arizon wants to install something for Arizona, if priority, if that's passed, you can go for the net damage. If that hits Trojan, you need to install like the Peach Shock. Maybe you have a simul chip around to respond to that. But it's a really cool kind of like,
it's a high skill game right now. Yeah.
Who flinches first? Looks like we're walking away. Trick shot just got 2 ice res, and that's all.
Oh god.
It's gonna draw from an income. If we haven't already seen this turn. No, I don't think so. There's the draw.
Drawing into a hedge fund.
Match is not feeling so even.
Yeah,
I just followed suit.
Now, in some PE matchups, you won't play that card. Think the hit point's a bit better.
Oh, we're out of
I think
MP.
We've had the Creative Commission in hand for a while, but we're
Oh no.
here. We know it's a Crisium grid. We think it's a really good. Arzon can't trash it here.
On Tenzin.
He doesn't have a big reason to res it. D, if they have a Genesis in hand, they're not going anywhere. The remote server is spoken for with the cohort. So the question is, what's in hand here? D could be just holding the blood in the water. Fuji don't go anywhere anytime fast. We've used 2 spin doctors.
Crab Sarah, this is not about you, man.
In this remote room, it's not secure.
It's not easy to do.
Even on 3 credits.
You trust the upgrade first. We're expecting Prism. It is Prism Grid.
Good lord.
System update 2021 version. So now touching from hand. We're gonna roll a die here. I think that's only 3 cards in hand. So if there's an agenda, we're looking at least a 1 and 3.
Oh god.
Been in there for a minute. We've known that. Not going anywhere.
Okay.
Arzon going to take a net damage up to 6 points on game point. Any deep dive should solve it. Now wondering losing the Diesel. That's one of the worst hits, I imagine. I wonder if Arzon just wants to go back here and for HQ. You want to just make sure they have clicks left in the turn, drawing up, saying, I know next turn I don't think D can do too much unless they get...
Oh, I did gain a bunch of levels.
It's gonna be hard to get out of
I
this.
guess. That might have had something to do with
For
it.
one more access.
I don't know if you want to run last
So
click.
50-50. Yeah, just creative commission. Yeah, I think you're on 6. I think it's unlikely on 5 credits that we see 2 points get scored here. If you just kind of play
It's
it
very
safe.
tricky. Yeah. Cohort throwing a card out. It's very important with Moonpool. You need more agendas. Now, there could be face-down agendas in archives. That's the frightening thing. Like, the cohort can set up the Moonpool.
And there is one at least face-down card.
Yes.
And we see underneath the hedge fund there.
And we've seen D make some very confident bluffs. Say, hey, I know you can run archives.
Yeah.
I'm still going to throw out the
That,
Fuji.
that first Regenesis score was...
So D's going to go for a discard of the cohort. Draw 2 cards from mandatory, gain 2 credits. Next turn, the remote server is just a Tattoo Bola. The Vampire Nasa can be fully broken for free, so D needs to maybe find a way out here. Arzon should be running HQ, drawing 2 cards a turn. You're assuming one of those might be an ice or at least a Tattoo Bola bluff, but 2 cards a turn without a strong scoring remote right now. The agendas have to go somewhere, so a Moonpool is the big thing that can pull you out of this. D, if they have access to the hybrid release, will they just score it out to do 1 net damage ping and tie the 6-6 score?
I mean, potentially, if you just...
I was reading fucking social media. I forgot that
Putting
that's the window that was showing
game
on
in
the
your
stream.
hands of luck, right? But
It was funny though.
Forcing Arizon to
Right.
be a bit more proactive here. Not
This
that he has it.
Chrysium Grid is really a big problem right now. Although, on 7 credits, rezzing it would be...
2
would be asking a lot.
installs.
Yeah.
Whether it's a Prana to get ready, but something behind the iced server. It's just a Tattoo Bola. We do know, if I'm not mistaken, where the virus is. I don't know if D shuffled it back into archives with the second Spin Doctor. Apologies if we missed
third
that.
Spin Doctor on the outside, potentially.
It's a possibility
Cheeky
here.
Rashida.
Now, if there's a Regenesis, there are face downs in archives. If there's a Moonpool, you can always use them as a panic button to get agendas out of archives, even out of hand if you need to. If you want to pay 3, it's a bit expensive, but it is technically a Spin Doctor. But this doesn't have any... Yeah, table snare. We saw that once before.
Oh, it didn't go back in, right?
The snare?
Yeah.
The snare did. on the
Okay,
first
yeah,
spin.
that's right, that's right.
Other cards we could expect: Tranquility, Home Grid, a Wage Workers is a one of. Rashida, I don't think we've seen the full set yet. We're gonna
checking
check
the
the outermost yet. Hannah still not getting to work on her bike. You want to see if we want to check that again? D does have access
I
still
think
to the
D
House
was
of
maybe
Knives,
just...
and it is the
Okay.
Piranha. Now only for 2 credits there with that Prisha that came down a couple turns before. It's got at least 4 credits worth. You're gonna get your sure gamble. So now you're assuming the innermost is something that does net damage, which is most of the cards in the deck. In fact, every single agenda. So Arzon needs to figure
Yeah,
out,
but
is there a
any
good way
agendas-
to deal with the Tattoo Bola?
Any agenda's the game here, so...
Table snare would be pretty cute. Ask for access, House of Knives. Maybe set Arzon in a difficult situation now that the Onicom hasn't fired, and I believe Arzon does have operations in hand, or excuse me, events, to get free card draw.
What do we think the ice on the centrals is? Is that just
One of them
enemies?
has to be an enemy.
Okay.
I think D is
Now
trying
that
to
we're
save
topped off
that
again.
for turn res when it really matters.
When the Prana condenser is on the table.
Or when D has access to something like a Blunt the Water, or you need to
Yes.
protect a Fuji and Centrals. There's a bunch of
Right.
reasons. Now, Fuji and
Okay.
Centrals on 6
Good
points,
level
unfortunately, that ship has
four.
sailed slightly, but you want to set up that sort of like fork.
Breakpoint.
Make it hard to deep dive.
7.
Arzon, continuing with a sure gamble, gain 4, going to guide to draw a card. That's going to use the Onicom trigger for this turn. Muse can be
Muse.
very important. Only
Yeah.
4 cards in hand, though. The Muse can give you
2 clicks left.
the ability to get anything, basically, from any program
Just
you could
drawing
want.
again. That is a fermenter.
Second in the list. D in the remote server.
Do you let this cook? If that is
This
the
way is-
Regenesis? Is there one more Regenesis?
Yes. This could be that's a Regenesis.
No, there's only 2 in the list.
Rashida.
And we have both the Regenesises are gone.
Oh, there's only 2 in the list. Okay, they're gone. Yeah, you're right.
7.
That's Rashida. Draw 3, gain 3. D has drawn, I think, 5 cards in the last 2 turns. HU must have something.
Oh.
And not going to be very easy to perch here. That Vampire Nasa is well done with the Botulus. So the Tattoo Bola on the outermost. We still have one more spree waiting if Arzon just wants to send his centrals, but just drawing methodically through the deck, pushing himself forward. D, checking the archives. Might mean there's another Spin Doctor coming up, or just want to know what tools they have left in the deck. There's 2 face down if I'm not mistaken. Install, advance, advance. Here's the
Or
first
a
hybrid.
release.
And this allows you to install a card from archives.
Both players on 6 points right now.
It's a
One
face-down
point
card.
left to win the game.
6-6 currently
very
in the
much,
finals. There's one more hybrid release. If D can find that, top deck it, and rip it, they can get to 7. Now this allows you to install a card from archives. You can choose the order here. We're going to go for the damage first to get some information, but it has to be a face-down card. Now this in theory
Muse.
could be Agenda. It doesn't have to be a card you can res, it's just a card you install. I'll see if D decides not to use that. There's still a couple operations in the deck, of course, but
Do we have another burner in here?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Hannah, no. It's Hannah. And the Chrysium grid obviously is an issue for them.
D trying to figure out what to do with the hybrids being sent away. Looks like there's just a couple options.
Checking a couple cards.
Wants to find out whether it's going to be ice again. It could be anything that just hits the table. Just can't be an
I
operation.
think I'm getting used to the graphical style fully.
House of Knives.
I'm
loaded
actually
up.
pretty happy about.
No deep dive in sight. 4 cards in hand. Anonicon. We're going to finish that daily cast there. We did lose.
I've reached a
Muse.
point where
Showing
like
you more.
my
Yeah,
brain
that
has
was a bad
normalized
hit.
this as something to
Now,
look
Simon,
at
just gonna be pretty good where
regularly,
you wanna get to your
and like the
order
perspective of the
douse.
camera and
So it'd be
everything.
hard to get if
You know what I'm
you're
talking
trying to
about? Like when you
co-gates
play something
versus
for the first time, you like
buffer
can have a hard time like mentally just adjusting
Got
to
plenty of money here.
what a game can look like, especially older
Like, any
games.
one problem.
I feel like I've finally gotten over that hump.
Taken care of potentially.
Oh,
Are you really thinking what to do the hybrid release here?
had like
The
killed
deep
2
dive
dudes.
seems far off because if there are several anemones here, plus the House of Knives pings.
Well, he doesn't even have one. I don't think he has a deep dive. in
Okay,
hand.
kill 4 more enemies.
It looks like not using the hybrid release. I
Opting
don't know what
to
that
not release
tells,
it.
whether those cards are not installable or whether you don't want those cards on the table. Sometimes if you're just trying to get a movable out, it can matter. But not actually sure what that means. Arzon looking over the board state there. The remotes are for nothing in it. We do know
got
HQ has
paralyzed.
a Chrysium. That's mostly all we know. Whether we have the time here to make the runs,
Yeah.
we're starting to get
We
rid of
just
HQ.
take care of the Chrysium.
Chichan is in hand. Now, Arzon has priority. The way that this works is that you can have a paid ability window that opens on approach. The runner has priority.
Before
If
the
you
res.
I mean, the
pass
mini-map
the
is very
window
nice for
to the
finding
runner, to the
enemies.
corporation say, I'm not doing anything, and the corporation says, I'm not resing, that window closes. You can't respond to put the Pikachu on. So again, you have a bit of that who draws first, who flinches first. But that will drop Arzon to 3 cards in hand, which means something like Ask for Access, House of Knives into Snare, that's lethal. As much as that is a one of in the list. It looks like they're asking the judge a question. I think that's something on camera's happening.
5,000
Audio, but We
XP?
don't have audio from the table
Right.
itself,
Yeah.
so
If this is a priority window check.
but Arzon would have to go first here. As soon as he passes priority, not only can you just do House of Knives before resing, so
Wow.
if you are expecting some sort of Trojan.
Oh, right, I forgot. You can only gain 1 level at a time.
Have 2 left.
Fuck, so I just...
Maybe an enemy.
Mm,
The question is how many
that
cards
actually
can find in the
sucks.
event?
I just dropped like
Yep.
There's
3,000
nothing else to
XP
replace that.
into the dirt.
That might have been the only event in hand. It was the only event in hand. Beat Sean for Mentor.
Resing
Muse
at-
got drawn.
Resing for 3. And
So
we
it
see
is
an
the
enemy.
Onicom. Sorry, and then
Yeah,
the
yeah.
D looking what card he gets. And this is
Okay.
very interesting because you can also get
At least
the
it's
agenda
repeatable.
out of hand with this. It puts it obviously in
Yay,
archives,
I'm
but you know
on
the HQ
level
access will
8.
connect. This is going to do guaranteed 2 damage. Then it's up to Arzon
Okay.
to move that Ika over or have another option with either Arsana's ability
Yeah,
or the
not,
Simul chip.
not going to hit the land the 3rd net, but
Probably
definitely doing
not.
2.
Yes.
Can't stop it.
D probably hunting there for the Pichachon, not getting it. Figuring out what to discard. Thinking about this, D I think might just have a full hand of cards, so you have some options. Arzon's only going to be able to get a single access, so that should be 2 more net damage here coming in through for the enemy res that's been on the table for a while.
4. 1.
No, D's been drawing a lot. It's not unlikely there's another agented hand if we're looking for the hybrid. Any point wins it for Arzon here. Losing both programs.
Oh, I never picked this one up.
Hand is left. I think it's just a Hannah and 1 more card. Snare can be lethal. There's a Fermenter as well.
Now here you can, I don't know if you want the click back necessarily, but you can pop the symbol chip to get back either of those
Yeah.
at this point. And you can install the Pichachon before, okay, the Muse, to break the net.
So we're hosting for 2.
Proceeding.
I think we just break for 1 as well. So it's up to D to decide whether they want to res the Chrysium grid on 5 credits. The other ice on other central servers, whether it can be res or not. Another enemy won't be a flat line, but actually will be unless Arzon draws. Access here, Snare can be lethal. There's only 1 on the list. 3 cards here with only 2 cards in hand. There's a risk here. Any agenda wins it. Gotta go and flip.
It's Rashida.
This is the last World Championship we're going to see her face thrown into archives. Arzon alive there, D with 2 cards left. It's only 1 credit to run HQ.
Just draw?
Can be the safe thing here, but the problem is where's the last hybrid
Right,
release?
if you top deck that hybrid, you have to check the top at least, I think.
You have to check HQ. You're assuming the
That's
top.
true.
D on 6 credits. Those credits got a bit split apart, but reunited. Arzon
At
with
least
2 cards in hand, 2 House of Knives counters.
D has at least 3 more cards in hand, if not 4.
No, D only has 2 more.
Is it 2?
I think that was a 1 and 3.
Okay.
So she got trashed. Cards in hand. 1 click only spent. We have access to Peach Champ as a way to get
Oh,
this click
there's
back
just free
if we
XP
wanna
here.
check. It's only 1 credit, but the risk on the snare. It's only a 1 of.
We haven't used Arizona's ability yet this turn.
No, but I think you want to
You
keep
don't-
those
you- yeah,
cards
it's-
in
it's
hand.
HP.
Yeah,
You don't wanna-
it's hard.
Right.
Same
Drawing.
click we're drawing up. That's a deep dive. Crisium was not rezzed. Arzon
You can do
can
1.
put the pressure on. He's drawing up
Drawing again
against
seems
backwork.
Less
for the
likely that you're going to
third.
deep dive now.
Still possible.
Do we have a spree in hand?
No, you'd have to do like simul chip Peach and stuff. It's risky. You could do it if you really put your mind to it.
Last click runs.
Yeah,
Peach
maybe
and
not
Sean.
actually.
I don't
if
think
it's
you
not in
can.
hand, yeah. So we're drawing up D. If they have access to the
do
last
we
hybrid
have
release, D can just
the
send
hybrid
it. Top
release?
deck. Looking at hand,
I think we would
shuffling
be
up.
smiling at this point if we had top decked the.
I don't know, D.
It's hard to read. They're very, very cool right now.
Yes, they've been very cool this whole
Okay,
game.
this would be quite a pause, though. I don't think
this
that. I don't
through.
think that they have it just now.
Arizon thinking this through, understanding he might just
So
have one
tense.
more turn here. We haven't seen the moon pool since one got shuffled in.
Draw
again.
Okay, it won't.
Another card
Unless there's a
breaking
moon
through.
pool.
But moon pool needs agendas
more
in
agendas.
archives or in hand.
That's right.
Arizon might want to check archives at some point.
They're face down.
I think there's like 3.
But you can't, having put them on the table with no spin doctors, that's
You just
an
gotta
unacceptable
do
risk,
that.
isn't it? Or just like, wow, what confidence you have to do that.
Earthquake.
Sometimes you do that.
Right, if that's your out.
Oops.
Right? But I don't think it was the
6 to
only
6
out.
here. D just needs to find 1 pointer and flatline to reset that bracket to look for the World Championship title. Arizon sitting across the table thinking that
Stall?
credit
Credit.
and credit.
I've got more alter ego stuff.
Refilling.
So the deep
Parisha
dive
counters
is in
6
hand.
Is in hand for sure.
Can we pull off a deep dive? One of the anemones is offline.
You have to dodge the
run
trick shots.
the
Or sorry,
Crisium.
the House of Knives.
Right.
You start there first to see whether D
Right.
reses. If they don't res, then you'll probably run the other central servers. You have to dodge an enemies.
Well, you don't if the Crisium is 4 to res?
3.
3 to res. Okay, that's actually better. Okay.
Arizon has the money, has access to the simul chip, cards in hand. The only trick here is I believe there might be a muse, but definitely there is a deep dive. Arizon finding out, oh, no muse in hand, excuse me, that's a Hannah. To draw, we're spec working, getting rid of that Parisha, the flood, to draw
Okay.
a pair of cards and gain.
I've just got a ton of sparks for doing this.
Hanekam's going to draw another as well, Creative Commission. This might just be the hit points you need. Second deep dive. That might give Arzon the confidence to center central service.
We're gonna
and
do some spark
dodge
shopping
those
after this, I
lines being
think.
thrown. Now, DJ
Nothing else I
Ferris
can
as
get a
well.
fucking
At this
bow.
turn, Sable
God.
doesn't do anything because
DJ
the mark
Sable.
is not marked.
Yeah.
But you
Setting
can
up for
go
next
for
turn. If we check
Steve,
this threat and then hope that there is no hybrid.
yeah. Steve is interesting because he can actually go for a double deep dive if you run HQ last, but Crisium Grid might be res, so if you lose it for damage, you can force
Yeah.
one back, but that's a lot of stuff. We only have 3 clicks left, and Peach and Sean still in the bin behind the single simul chip. I think there's only 1 simul chip left, if I'm not mistaken. Arizon using one a fair bit earlier in the game. A lot of cards are running.
R&D.
D checking all the ice that they have. It's been a minute since we've seen them both players laughing here, but with all these cards in hand, you want to use them. You don't want to be discarding cards at the end of your hand at
So
the end
but
of the
first,
turn.
we have to deal with the tentacle.
No, card's been trashed. So you can use the simul chip with no additional cost, if you want to say that in quotes.
Backward trash.
Yes.
Program specifically.
Yes.
Harish program.
Yeah.
And that's what
Freeze
would
would
be
be
sick.
sick.
For
Actually,
simul chip.
I don't know if this is an RD run, unless Arizon's considering how to break it. It's not
Oh,
an
I
RD
see.
run.
Okay.
It's DJ Fenris. Again, another World Championship might be the last time we see this.
Getting a
We're going to go for a...
Sable? Oh, we have the
Whoa.
unfoldable. I've seen this. There's what?
Quetzal.
It's a Quetzal.
Oh,
That is so
D
cool.
letting up the ooh.
Yeah, everybody going, ooh. You very, very rarely see anything but Steve or Sable. I mean, you do see sometimes a Lou. That's one of the most rare, but like so much fun to get hosted on a DJ Fenris.
Break a barrier subroutine. We're not going to need
Alright, we're gonna kill 5 more enemies, and then I'm gonna head back to this. And then I probably call it a night there, because I got work tomorrow.
There's no virus to worry about. The Botulus is going to deal entirely. We had a jump scare.
There was a big jump scare. Something happened in the room.
There was a cheer from somewhere else in the room, and
I think a
both players.
startup thing happened. Both players have been shocked there.
I thought that there was lag between the stream
Yeah,
and
me
that
too.
somebody
I'm
had
like,
won
wait,
the
but
game.
this is real life. There's no lag.
Yeah. That was fun. Okay, back to life.
Arzon thinking this through. Tattoo bullet there.
I can just do that.
The question is whether he has
But I can't hit them until they stop running.
I'm
Got
gonna
it.
make one of those unfoldable
That's nice.
things.
Leave the Pixies alone, because they're apparently good guys.
So D getting 4 credits, that should be just enough to do any of the shenanigans, whether it's Hollow-In stuff or Moonpool stuff. We're gonna carve our way straight through the map and also use all those counters.
We're gonna just kill it anyway.
Of course, it's an agenda. This
Is
will
it a
be the
Hollow
game.
Man? Is it a Hollow Man?
You know what? Fuck it.
It feels like a Hollow Man.
On access,
I'm feeling
healthy
evil.
cards there
Fucked
in
up.
hand. House of Knives can be used.
Or a snare. That's a tranquility.
Tranquility home grade. Very cool inclusion here. It's 4 to trash, and at this point, it's more about the card draw, I would reckon, than it is the credits. D
I just realized I don't know if
credits.
Pixies
Still some
actually
ice
stopped
cream cards.
moving.
We haven't
Oh, they
seen
did.
the big stuff that Nan sees, the data cards.
That card more often provides credits than card draw, but
Could be important here.
when you're hunting for.
Yes. Or you can install the Moon Pool and hope you draw into an agenda. Sometimes you need the 2 agendas for your last bet. Arzon gonna leave that there. Spending some resources. Looking across the table, still a click left in the turn. Now D could have
It's
it
too
as
bad,
well,
they're
but
very
that
cute,
last
but
copy
I got
of
a kill.
Hybrid release a 2-1 you don't often see, but if D has it, the 2 credits easily to reset this whole bracket. Thinking this through, if you want to go for a single this late, you're still equally likely to find a snare, but with 2 deep dives,
I'm sorry,
and
for
some
what?
extra cards.
When you've used your Quetzal, so you can't get the Tattoo Bola, can't get through
Mm,
Tattoo Bola
okay.
with Quetzal, you need to find some other solution.
Yeah.
And you have the symbol chip, but using it is, you're expending an
Lenin Road.
unrecoverable asset.
This is the hard thing when it comes down to inaction. Sometimes players want to take a risk because understanding if you just pass the turn, the hybrid release could do it.
Yes.
But we're actually going to spend our last click installing the Fermenter and NPC special just to get some virus counters. This will pass the turn back to the D. We know there's a Tranquility in the remote server.
Soulflame,
Hybrid release
I appreciate you saying hi to them, but you don't need to call out people who aren't talking in chat. It's okay.
D thinking it through, not snap, throwing it onto the table to reset the bracket.
It does seem like that would be a very fast end of the game.
Looking up. Arzon still smiling, trying to survey this board state. It's wild. There's a lot of
This
stuff
is a
going on.
tough. Okay.
D drawing.
Drawing.
We've seen so many cards and not that many runs on HQ. The agendas have to go somewhere. There's still face downs and archives hidden behind that neat pile. He's looking at a full hand here.
Probably want to install something on that Tranquility this turn at least.
Yeah, but Farzan's gonna run it.
Yeah. If you draw into an agenda.
It's a hard thing to say. We're both on game point. Is there an
Yeah,
agenda
I
on
don't
game
usually
point?
monitor
Definitely.
the viewer list, partially because it's just like a bunch of fucking bots, but also
The moon pool.
Ooh, if
I don't really need to know. If people talk in chat, people talk in chat.
Rest for 1 installed, gonna gain 2, so just gain 1. Putting the card on the table.
So a moon pool, if that just got installed, it's going to allow D at the last minute to
Save stuff.
Right.
save.
Yep.
So I
Shuffle
could
cards,
run
make
all
sure
the way
archives
back.
into R&D as long as they're face down.
It's not that far.
I was gonna trash some cards.
You know what? I'm not
Arzon
going to.
might Go for it here. D's drawn a lot.
All right, and I'm
Makes,
going to
I
because
think, a fair bit of
I need
sense.
to hold
The
on to
agendas have
these
to go
scrolls.
somewhere. If you just draw that Fuji
I think
asset,
warp
where's
ring
it
would be
going?
very
That
nice.
blood in the water is
So-
a bit of a brick when Arzon's ending turn on 5 cards in hand, but
If you want to play around the moon pool, you probably want to run HQ first before archives.
it could help. Yep. Running archives also before R&D could help. The question is where's Quetzal's going to be used. We're starting here on HQ.
Yeah,
We'll see
before.
if D now on 12 cards can probably afford to res the Crazium regardless if there's an active threat of deep dive, and there definitely is. Break for 1.
Yep.
With the Ika, another card on his last World Championship
Are we
potentially.
going to res that Crisium here?
D considering it.
Do you have to?
House of Knives are going to use it first, so D can see if this does snape out a deep dive, but Arzon does have a second.
D doesn't know that there's 2 in the hand.
No, but knows there's 3 in the last
Oh, it's a deep dive.
hit.
Okay, there's one
Now
left.
Arzon needs to act like that's a big problem. This does replace the card, checking it. D still can
Still
res the
res,
Crisium,
yeah.
saying, I think there's a chance. We know there's a third one somewhere. I'm not going to take the risks. That's good credits here. Now this single axis on HQ can be quite exciting, of course. His D's been drawing a fair bit without any great place for the putting agendas. Splaying onto the table, it's a 1 and 5 here. Gonna roll that die. 6 goes again, 2. Flip the card here.
To Tattoo Bola. Okay, safe again.
The one card we did know in HQ, that one's a bit of a magnet.
Right. No, obviously, as we just saw, Crisium Grid doesn't actually cause the run not to be successful. It just treats the successful condition not to occur for all the other things like deep dive.
Yeah, you still breach, you still access. It's just any card that cares for a successful run hasn't happened here.
Arzon very happy
Wait,
to
doesn't
have
that mean
out of the way now.
I hit 5k Unity? Doesn't that
Archive, something
mean
you might want to check out? We're only on one more House of
Nope.
Knives token. Card remotes, we haven't seen a moon pool yet.
I really don't think I understand how Unity works.
We lost one, I think returned with the Onikop. We still have the Quetzal. We're running R&D here. I don't know how big that pile of cards is. It might be about 15 is my guess. We're going to see if there's a swippity swap. We know that they have a tactical in hand. You want to keep that on the table. There you go. Install gain 4 credits. Could be the different one, I think. Arzon's joking. So we'll swap those 2, gain 4. Such a strong little barrier. Makes some really interesting play lines. And here on 13 credits, D can res the most expensive eyes, the Anansi, if the Vampiranas says. You might have to move the Ika around for some of those.
The Anansi, could the Anansi actually be broken?
Yeah, Ika.
Well, but on 4 credits? You move for 2?
Ooh,
You
could
can't
be
break
tricky.
it all.
Could be tricky.
Plus a House of Knives.
It might be hard.
5 damage.
Yeah, 4 credits is not a lot.
No, this is a little risky.
Okay.
D checking archives here. Wonder if this is another
What
enemy.
my inventory's looking like
Get
right
some
now.
cards out of hand, throw some stuff
Good.
out here, but Anansi can be hard. If you want to rehost and boost and break, I think you're a bit short of
We
breaking
saw
all
an
of it.
anemone in hand.
A long
Bill
time
increasing
ago.
tomes.
It might have been one on HQ, but I do think there's a chance it's one of the other central servers that was iced up a bit sooner.
Yeah, probably not the
There's
innermost.
death for dimwits.
I would be surprised if it's the innermost. You don't usually have 8 credits to res super early. It's an Anansi.
Arzon going for the nod here. I'm not actually sure how he breaks his 5 strength. Again, this is one of the strong sentries that has this text. If you don't break all the server
What
deeds,
is
you
Ika's
can't play
strength?
around this.
What is Ika's strength pumping?
Oh,
And it's
I
base
don't play
2.
enough Arsana to know this.
It's
You have to
base 2.
rehost it for 2. It's base 2. It's
Alright, I'm
probably
gonna get the blind
2 for
dagger.
2
3.
for 3. So
So
that's
you break for
brace for 4.
4, but you have to host for 2.
Right. So we don't have the money. We could get the money with
You
the
could
simul-chip, a coalescence.
For coalescence?
Yes. So that- yeah, simul-chip moves coalescence. Oh,
We're also gonna go
simul-chip
ahead
moves
and
actually
get-
hosts the Ika.
Yes.
But that costs
Summon
No,
for Muse will be
Muse-
free.
simul-chip,
Short bow.
discounts
That's
the
another
Muse.
option.
Okay, so we're popping the simul-chip.
So we're cracking the fermenter, but I mean destroying the fermenter with the simul chip. So we'll see if we'll go for the.
We're gonna
Muse
need
here.
some sort of arrow too,
You
right?
can overinstall the Ika, then get the Ika and host it. That will put you on exactly breaking at 4 credits.
Muse or coalescence.
See the options.
Coalescence.
Running for coalescence.
It's kind of the same, right? Because
Yeah.
this gets you 4 credits.
This gives you 4 credits. This is better. You gain 2 more credits.
Do we not need
You
arrows?
spend 2 to do the move, and then you spend 2 more or 4 more to break.
Yeah. So we're breaking all this. Yep. D enjoying that interaction, I think. So this single axis on 6 points again.
Other
Few agendas
bandana.
left in the game. We haven't seen.
The best.
Things are still missing.
Okay.
House of Knives token. Go for single axis here if we want. We have a healthy hand
Leather
here. 5
gloves.
cards, so it's going to be no tricks. 1 deep dive in there, but the HQ run did not count as successful. So
The
you can't have that
trousers.
Single axis here
Let's see
can
this
be the
card.
game. Rashida again?
Yeah.
It's a Rashida again.
Yes.
It's always been a
Man,
Rashida.
you saw
Leather high
like 40
boots.
pixels. Yeah.
Arzon obviously considering whether to trash this or not, and I think there's a big chance that if D draws the Rashida, that's not obviously the hybrid release.
You can't
Rabbit
run
charm?
back here.
Leave it.
You trash it?
Trashing it.
Okay.
Again, if that goes on the remotes, but the question is, what's on top of the Tranquility? D put something in there on last click, whether it is, again, the moon pool, whether it's the final agenda. D is, this turn is long. Imagine sitting there for this long, trying to be cool. Agendas
D
and
just
archives,
checked it.
maybe. Moon pool on
Just
the table.
check the card.
It's hard on 1 credit. Ika's hosted somewhere else.
So if you run, do you deny? You either check it, or you deny the credits of scoring a 3-pointer. Probably. Are Are there any ice in the deck that cost less than 3?
Tattoo Bolas.
Tattoo Bolas.
Drawing
Is that
for
a
final
tattoo? Have we
simul
seen
chip.
that? That's a tattoo, isn't it? Or no, we
Be
saw a
creative
tattoo
commission.
swap.
D's getting his card on the table. Looking at it, 5 credits here, whether it's a cohort, whether it's a Piranha.
Gotta wait for the mandatory draw.
Well, we're drawing an
Pass
unknown
turn.
card here. If this is the hybrid release that Rashida has revealed, a very important card for the top deck. 5 credits for Arzon after the creative. Off the top.
Had several
One
top
more
deck
hybrid
opportunities.
releases. There are 2 moon pools.
The
Bunch
best,
of face
leather
down cards and
gloves,
archives. Blood in the Water is still X
their
equals
hybrids, leather
5.
trousers.
He's thinking this through.
Let me just check really
The
quick.
pause does not mean that the
situations.
pause does not mean that D doesn't have it. D's just a very complete, wants to think out all the lines.
Thinking through to get out here. Running R&D is expensive still. 4 credits for the single axis, but any single axis, of course,
I
can
can
do.
get it
We've
from the
been in
auction
this
house.
situation for such a long time now. 6 to 6, stalling out on both sides of the table. Where are the agendas?
They're checking 2 cards.
There's 13 agendas in this deck. We've seen 8. There's only 5 left, if I'm not mistaken. R&D doesn't seem to be that tall. They have to be somewhere. Arizon's been finding Tattoo Bolas in HQ, which that does, again, the probability field on accessing the bounce card is pretty strong, it turns out.
Statistics are weird when you're playing Netrunner.
5 cards in hand. D thinking through this. The hybrid release. That 1 card giving you the bracket reset. Trying to summon. Turn after
Well, of
turn.
course,
Summon it to the top of
Boomerang.
the deck.
If D has the winning line, it has to be a complex one at this point.
It has to be a moon pool.
It doesn't seem like it's going to end this turn.
But
with
moon pool.
a 60-second
You
delay,
need 3 agendas. Moon pool. You need a 3-1. Either the House of Knives, the Sting. And then you just need other agendas, either in hand or in the bin, to be able to score out. That should only cost you 4 credits if I'm not mistaken.
Also, D, I think D knows that if there's how much money does Arizon need to actually send? Arizon needs at least 4, 5, probably 7 or 8 credits to do a deep dive.
I don't know if the deep dive's going to happen.
I know, but if
D's.
Arizon can get that much money next turn, the game could be over. D's stepping away from the table for a moment.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to touch 3 central servers and not win on points. You're right. There's always the threat for the deep dive.
Right.
It looks like we're having a stepping away here. It might just be a restroom break. Not sure, but Arzon,
Judge
judge
Okay,
question.
Yep.
Oh, sick. Thanks, Rowan. So see
Probably,
what the question
yeah.
is
So
here.
in this case, D has a question that they want to ask the judge, and probably doesn't want Arizon to know,
Yes.
what's going on.
The
So-
judges are here, whether it's questions on what are the interactions, the rules, some of the intricate stuff, or even just what's the text on the cards. Sometimes that can be very important.
Right.
Again, you don't want to make a mistake and find yourself losing the world championship attempt just because
You
the
forgot
res
break
cost
strength.
or the
Yeah,
break strength.
exactly.
So we're going to get a question in here. Again, the judges are just off camera on both sides in brilliant mustard yellow t-shirts. Been here all weekend doing a great job helping facilitate this event. Alex, been pretty calm. He's been grinding these decks for such a great time. Anytime I'm on JNet, if it's a stream, if it's casual, he's always there trying to play this Arasana and doing a
Looks like they might
fantastic
be
job.
back.
I'm glad to see this here at the World Championship. D back down in their chair. I think a mandatory draw is all the turn has held so far. Full hand of 6. We know there's a Bola in there as our guess. Card in the remote server hasn't gone anywhere. I think 1 data loop's unaccounted for.
Overriding.
Install?
Yep. Gonna fire Tranquility here.
And this allows you to draw a card. There's a chance here if you just need to find an agenda, you can get a moon pool trigger if you're just looking for more fuel for that fire. But D drawing there while getting a card out of hand. Tranquility home grid for 2 influence. A really nice splash. You see this in very cool decks. If it's an op deck or a PE deck here at the World Finals, you can get some really nice interactions.
So we've been through most of the deck. There are 2 moon pools. That is a legitimate line of just putting the moon pool down.
And hoping.
Yeah, and hoping. And it's 5 credits is exactly enough, right?
I think it's less than that. I think it's 4. Depends how many advancements you need. Depends on the agenda.
Wooden arrow.
Because moon pool's res 3, gain 2 advancements. So if you install 3-1, res, advance, I think it's just 4 if I'm doing the math.
Okay, yeah. Winders,
Moon pool has
waters.
a
Yes.
lot of text.
Yes,
I think
you're
it's
right.
attributed to the playtest
Winders,
of the
woods.
Borealis cycle. It has some conditions on it. But a card has entered archives this turn, so if I'm not mistaken, I don't think actually Moonpool cares about that. That's for Genesis text. So
That is for Genesis.
So Moonpool still should be alive and well.
Yep.
Are you thinking through. From game, yeah, reveal 2 face-down cards in archives, and there's, I think, about 4 face-down cards
Looking
in
for
archives.
credit.
Vampire Nasa has been sated here on 4 counters. We're spreading out
many
RNG.
cards?
It's like 6 cards.
Looking for Insasa.
You could still
So,
deep dive 6, I think.
There have to be, there's got to be agendas in HQ or
Archives.
they're not all in R&D.
Or the
They're-
remote
right?
server. There's 5 agendas across
What is
this
this?
6 cards.
Wait, there's a
I think it's a new remote.
yeah a
It's
new remote. There was
remote.
okay. So install Tranquility, install new remote, and credit.
Yeah. Card.
It was
on
under the overlay. I
table.
think that when that happened.
So whether that's a spin
Might be
knock
easier
to
just look
save
with my
things in
eyes.
archives or a moon pool just to
This
bring
is-
to safety. This deck doesn't have
I
any
think I know where
faithful
they are.
traps, so it's not like you can run into something and it's an Urtica that gets moon pooled and suddenly you flatline to some ambush.
This
There's
is a good
still one
fork.
snare.
You kind of have to check these cards.
Simulchip coming down. The question is, do you think the agenda that brings the reset, the World Championship titles uniced
There we go. Yep.
in the bottom right pocket?
That would be the bluff.
Arzon starting here on the remote server. With the Simulchip down, we have a couple options. There's still one more House of Knives token. On 6 credits, you can't res the biggest
6
ice,
credits.
but you do get through the Vampire Nasa.
Inventory is full.
He's considering. No res. No res.
Looks like no res.
Yep. Gonna break all 4.
See what I can sell.
Are we gonna leave a token here?
Of course, I can just
Tokens come out
dump
for spree, the
stuff out of
virus
my inventory
counters,
too
but
into my
all those
other
things
stuff,
are pretty
but
relevant on most board states. Axis.
Access the face down, and it is a moon pool.
Now this is, I believe, only 3 to trash. It's a nice alt art. So Arzon is going to trash. The question's when they're remote server, but if D has the moon pool, that means that they don't have the way to score out the game. So maybe they're not drawing the 3-1s or
Well,
the
what if
2-1s.
this is the second moon pool? There's
Easily
2.
could be, and Arzon might not have the credits. That might buy D another time to draw into. D could have another moon pool on the table. There's 2 in the list.
Right.
Anything else on the table, Arzon can contest, but it's the credits you need here. Now you
Okay.
could flicker the Coalescence to quickly gain 4 if you need to. But seeing that hand
You'll
here,
sell
we're checking.
food?
Checking again. If it is another moon pool,
You can run back.
you
Oh,
can
you
run
do?
Back, but how do you?
No.
Oh, you can simul chip
Coalescence.
coalescence.
Yeah,
maybe.
if you need the money right now. Now D has to.
You don't even need to run back. You can simul chip coalescence right now.
Not when you're accessing.
Spin doctor. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Spin Doctor to start. D draws 2. Now Arzon has 1 click left here. If
D
D
draws
draws
2.
into the last copy of the hybrid release,
Gotta be-
Arzon
unless it's in the bottom 6.
bottom 6 would be terrible here for D. But the moon pool or the hybrid release, any setup here, we'll see what D shuffles
What
back.
Kuta has too.
Archives is a pile much taller than the R&D it stands next to. Looking at all the options
Fishing
here,
stuff.
being very thorough, I think there's 4 or 5 face down cards. One of them over-installed. I think 2 or 3 of them are cohort discards or cohort triggers. So looking at all the options to pad an R&D that might be holding frustratingly the agenda. Now you can also shuffle less than 2 cards. You can
Good to
shuffle
don't
0 or
mind
1 if you're
you.
just trying to get the hybrid. But the question is with ours on
What's
the
wrong
last
with you?
click, is the Peach Sean going to come down? What central server? This is going to come down to the wire. This last click for Arzon might be the most important because if the hybrid release is here or another moon pool. Is it 2 face downs, I think? 2 face downs?
I couldn't tell. Was there 0 shuffle?
I would say a bit of a shuffle.
Yeah, I'd
Looks
say
like 2 face downs.
I don't know why we would shuffle 0 here unless
To make sure you draw
well,
to hybrid
unless
release,
you
there's
yeah,
reasons.
that's right. You want to pop, but why are we popping the spin doctor?
To draw 2?
You
No.
think back here?
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah. Why,
Hey,
yeah,
Gabi,
we wouldn't
how do
pop,
you
so I
talk?
think something got shuffled back then.
Last click here, Arzon.
Good
Running
Byango.
This has been a draw mid-turn.
Window
no
is
filtering.
too far away from my
Money is tight here.
hometown.
You can probably
Dropped
just
all
take
good.
the
Okay, y'all.
advantage. I'm not sure if it's gonna matter. The worst is you're taking.
I don't know
two
how I feel about
because of
that.
The House of Knives and the anemone. Now, if you hit a snare, that might be a
Yep, we're
problem.
taking
But
a
it looks like we
damage.
might just be taking the damage. We can't move the Ika over without doing something aggressive with the final simulchip.
3 cards left. That's
Monicom.
an Emicom. It's not gonna
Monicom hasn't
not
fired
gonna draw.
so far.
Popping
Arzon
Simulchip
is doing it
to put the coalescence back.
to gain
Gain
4 to move the Ika to break it. Now, you could just run it and fire the damage, but if you hit the snare, you do get flatlined.
Right.
So this could be Arzon's last access. It's hard to believe that D doesn't have the moon pool combo or the last
3
hybrid
cards
release
in
here.
hand.
Let's go Sylvina.
You're gonna shake that die for all it's worth.
Now this you need a D7 here. There's
You
7
can
cards.
you can
D
randomize with
looking a bit nervous. There's definitely here. Not sure what that is about. I think we might have a bigger die here. Sometimes it's just about playing craps at these tables.
Oh, there we
That's
go.
a 4. That's a good number.
Is this the winning
Right
card?
down the middle.
Oh,
That's our world champion.
my
Arzon takes it.
goodness.
That's the hybrid release.
Wow.
Wow.
That was in hand. D just needs survive
That
one more
was the
click.
last turn. What a
But
game.
Alex takes
What
it.
a game.
7-6.
Arzon, the new world champion of Netrunner.
Wow.
Congratulations, man.
2024.
What a game.
Congratulations.
Just keeping the pressure on the deep dive threat. Fuji
What
at the
a
top.
tense game. That went on.
What a
and
great
on.
game. Personal
Wow.
evolution there, Arzon.
You see the happiness on Arzon's face. That's
Grinding
so...
this Arizona has paid off. Oh, D, what
Arizona
a fantastic game.
Arizona took worlds.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
That's really exciting.
Sick.
Wow.
Mind you, Arzon
And we didn't see Spree
undefeated.
We didn't see
No,
Spree do the thing, but
Yeah,
Spree
it
was
was
in
there.
the winning deck. It got there, right?
Let's go. We hear wild screaming from the next room.
Oh, I think we're gonna cut to the front of the room. Yep. Okay. We're gonna be cutting to a,
Let's
to a
see.
video.
We might
Incredibly
be, So
tough.
stay tuned again. We're gonna have a couple things going on before we should have an interview with Arzon on camera.
Okay,
we
let's
might
cut
be
quick.
throwing to the main room.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought I heard the
Oh.
voices going.
We're here, so there's some
Yeah.
celebration going on outside. We might throw the camera. Apologies. We're gonna play this a bit by ear here, but obviously
Right.
things are popping off. What a finals! This is a 2024 World Championship here. Personal Evolution versus Arizona. 50 cards getting it through. Deep dive or not. 7-6.
That was a slog of a game. No, I mean not a slog.
It
It
was
was a
good.
tense game, right? Yeah.
I move and interrupt my
Back
aim.
and
No, the
forth,
fuck I
very
don't.
tactical. You hear the
Applause
applause outside.
erupts next
Yeah.
door. We should have a camera out there. We might be moving it around here, getting the roaming team to move the camera where it wants.
Wow. What a game.
Man, that was
One-
cool.
How did we? It was a 6 cards hand.
7.
7 cards. 1 and
Get the
7.
D20, roll it, hit the
Right.
4. All you need, and if you miss that, hybrid release just hits the table and
I was
D
facing the wrong
resets
direction.
bracket. Well
There
played.
was 3 and 7.
Three
agendas in
agendas
hand.
and 7. The
Okay.
judges are telling us. So
Okay.
the odds there.
That was the one that
Ow.
that D needed
Yes.
to just
Guys.
go next turn though.
the
Yeah.
Get in there.
perfect agenda there.
All right, I'm fine.
Yeah,
Yes,
we're
okay, we're
trying to
gonna-
do an interview. I think it's going to take Alex maybe a second before we get him on the mic. So if D wants to talk, we'd love to have
Yeah.
D.
We'll have the runners up.
Okay,
D,
so
come on.
We're going to throw it to a break really quickly. We'll be back with some interviews. Thanks so much for hanging out. We have a couple folks to talk about. We're really excited to get to that. We might have some closing statements here, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a minute.
Now we just chill. I might be a little out of my depth here. Let's go ahead and engage. Come for it. Okay, well, that seems like a good enough place to call it anyway. We saw the last game. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream there, but thank you very much to anybody who's watched and enjoyed the stream. Hope you had a good evening. And next time I stream, yeah, probably just do my Final Fantasy 11. I do want to note that I'm going to be out of town for most of the week, so I probably won't be able to stream anytime this week. But I may stream Monday night, and if I don't, I will probably stream this weekend. Alright, well, on that note, I will catch y'all later. Bye-bye. Oh, hold up. Not Papa Limo Final Fantasy 14 spamming my YouTube chat. That's so sad.